Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's semi-final for the Champion Series of Talent League. We are here tonight to watch. Who are we here to watch? It's qvG Academy versus. Sorry, it's not qvG Academy. They were qvG Academy, but it's now qvG Esports versus Machine Soldiers Academy. I'm joined by Wumby. Wumby, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm looking forward to this match because last match that we did have it was against Wii Sports and Loud, and unbeknownst to anyone, it came as a humongous shock. But Loud Esports were actually the one to win that game in Wii Sports. Came up just a little bit too short. It was like overtime match point for both maps, so it wasn't
Hmm,
like Loud Esports
close.
completely dominated them, but it was like super duper close. And I
Yeah.
think at the end of that game, or what I don't think, because I remember it pretty vividly, but I had a humongous migraine. Almost threw up so many times last night because there was just a lot of things going on in that matchup, and I feel like it's going to be the same thing or the same situation happening here.
So you don't think it's going to be a clear win to either team? I mean, we can talk about the community vote. The community vote that we ran today on this matchup shows that 74% of Twitter, and Twitter are always right when it comes to this stuff. 74% of Twitter are putting their money on qvG to take the win, with only 26% backing Machine Soldiers. Do you think that's a realistic outlook on tonight's game, or do you think it's going to be much closer than that suggests?
Um, I don't really think. I feel like those type of poses, like whenever TSM go up against anybody, it doesn't really matter the team. For some reason, TSM will almost always beat the popularity vote, and I feel
Hmm.
like that's what's kind of happening here. In a sense, I don't think that it's going to be as clear cut as a lot of people would want it to be, especially not in QBG's favor. I feel like this is going to be a very close matchup because for some reason, or well, not really for some reason, I have a good reason for thinking this, but MSA for me has been probably the second best team inside of Major League this season. They've been very consistent when when they've had their games, and I just feel like they have so many good pieces to the puzzle that QVG might finally have a struggle here because for most of the season, for most of Major League, they haven't really been struggling. If you take a look at their record, they've been unbeaten so far, suffering only like what one draw, but almost all of their games have been wins for them.
Yeah. Well, Machine Soldiers certainly had a good first round for Champions Series in this season with the win against who was it? AutoCat. They played against AutoCat in the first round of Champions Series, and they took, I think it was a 7-4 and a 7-1 victory, if I remember rightly. So a very good opening game in Champions Series for Machine Soldiers. Now possibly going to get a bit more of a challenging fight. But like you say, that this could be the first time that QVG really come up against. A bit more of a difficult force. Let's talk about map bans. And I'm really excited about the maps that we've got tonight, 1B, because it's not your standard map pool that we've got to talk about. Do you want to talk about the map bans? I'll
No, yeah, sure. Of course, the first map that we have our three maps, of course, because this is a best of three. And the
Mhm.
first map that I do want to well, no, I don't want to talk about. I do want to talk about all three of them. The first map that was actually picked was by QVG. We got Coastline. That's what they picked. MSA, the second map,
Nice.
is going to be Bank, and then the decider is going to be an Oregon. Bank and Coastline have gotten some really, I want to say reworks, but they were just some quality of life changes. Of course,
Yeah.
the Brawl and VIP. And then for Bank, there was like a lot of movement around with some of the hatches, especially on that first floor. And also some changes to basement, some changes to open area, and then also, well, yeah, open area. And then the second floor wasn't really touched that much, I don't think. At least from
Not
what
at
I've
all.
noticed.
No.
Not at
No.
all. So there you go. I mean, it's interesting. We haven't really seen a lot of Bank inside of Talent League this season, not in minor or major league, and it's mainly I don't know if it's people like quote unquote saving strats, but a lot of teams tend to not pick it or they just outright ban it. And for
Yeah.
QBG, that's been the case at least for most of the season because I have it actually right here, at least for Bank, that they haven't played it a single time this season. They've banned it every single game that they've had, and I wonder why in this matchup alone that they didn't ban it. At least when they've had the opportunity to ban it, they ban it if another team doesn't. But they never played it once this season, and I'm curious as to why that in this specific matchup in the semifinals why they didn't ban it.
They've clearly got something ready for this map. They had a there was a There was some opportunities to play it earlier in the season, but Bank was auto banned, I believe, in one of the games they wanted to play. And I think they probably had something ready for it and they didn't get to bring it out. But that's probably worked in their favor as now they're getting to play it here and show what they've got for the first time. They didn't ban it immediately, so they're not totally against it, but it was Machine Soldier's choice, so they might not have too much for it. But let's see how it plays out. I think Bank's going to be a really interesting one. Like I say, we haven't seen it much, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. We are just about ready to go, so we will get the game started in a moment. The third map's going to be Oregon. We've all seen Oregon. We know what we're looking for in Oregon, so not really a whole load of stuff to talk about. But we are going to go to Coastline, map number 1, and we are going to see Machine Soldiers starting on attack, and they will be starting on attack in every single game that we play here tonight. What are we looking for map bans, for operator bans, do you think, 1B?
Well, from what I've understood from qvG, if not, well, yeah, I want to say qvG at least, is that I don't really, when it comes to their bans, I did expect a Nomad ban. I did know that that's what I was getting down to. They either ban a Thatcher or they ban a Nomad, and I think the same can be said for MSA. Actually, no, for MSA, they tend to ban a Buck on this map, and I feel like for good reasons. Coastline is a very small map, and Buck tends to prosper on this, but they ban the Osa.
Wow.
You know what? I'm
Okay.
not surprised because Osa is actually, as much as little as Osa is picked in competitive play, I feel like she's very, very powerful on a map like Coastline.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
she's got that ability to just. There's so many places like hookah. You can just walk in through the doorway from the balcony, plant a shield down, and try and get the plant down behind it. It's not as easy as it sounds, but there's a lot that you can do with those, especially like maybe on the hookah window as well, where we all know you can just rappel up on that window, and then having a shield there can help you a whole lot. So yeah, that is a good ban from Machine Soldiers, but we're also going to get the Mirror and Valkyrie. Two very common bans. I don't think that's going to surprise anyone. Mirror great for a couple of sites on Coastline, whereas Valkyrie with that intel. Coastline is known along with typically Consulate being the other one, where Valkyrie is pretty much a must-have ban just because of the amount of intel you can gain with that operator. So no big surprises on defense, but it is an interesting one for attack. Let's see how this one's going to play out as we do go to Blue Bar and Sunrise first. I do love to see an offsite getting played first.
yeah, I mean, it usually works out in certain ways. It could either work out really, really well for the defense, throwing off the attackers, making them not prepared for this
Hmm.
site. Maybe they took notes on other sites and they were prepared for another site. But this is an offsite and they may be caught off guard by this. But if MSA is one thing, they are a mental team, at least from what
Defenders,
I've
protect your
understood and
bombs
from
from
what
being
I've seen
defused
of
by
them. And they don't
attackers.
get thrown off so easily. Not especially not in the mental games. So whatever mental games that qvG are playing, they have to do their best to one up them. And interestingly enough, we do see the Oryx come out as well. And Oryx on Coastline doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because there's only one or two hatches on this map, and he's not really that useful on a map like Coastline where there's like so little hatch
10
play,
seconds
and
to
also
go.
the map is like super duper small, so roamers don't really have enough
5
room
seconds to insertion.
to roam in.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They have enough room to breathe, and
Attackers are
it's just
moving out to
odd.
locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yeah, so I think, well, one of the strategies for Oryx could be maybe for some routes. He's very good for getting outside and making a lot of ground very quickly, so it could be maybe they want to use him for some run-outs at the start. We can see he's already lost some health, but that will be due to opening up a big hole with his whole body, I would imagine. But maybe that's what Sir Gucci has in mind for Oryx. But time will tell as the game is underway. We are now into the attack phase, and we have Twitch being played by Den trying to get that shock drone into service, but there is a Mozzie Pest that's going to stop that, and Den's going to have to find another way around. As we've got Think with the NNG coming out, and Lion suggesting some possible rush plays coming in here from Machine Soldiers.
Yeah, now the lion skin comes out, so it's gonna freeze these defenders in place, but they're not going to quite literally act on that information because the defenders have done a good job of not letting anyone die within the first 30 seconds. As I say that, Sir Googie quite literally looks away from the Finka playing in that VIP area, and it looks like he almost should have gotten a one-tap there on the Finka that was just crouched behind the couch. And if the Finka didn't know that there was somebody playing in billiards, then by that shot like blisting through her head, she now knows, and she's going to be the person to die by that same Oryx player. qvG is going to run out of there as soon as he gets that kill, and he's going to drop back into blue bar.
This is good play coming out there from qvG up on the top floor. We've now seen quite a bit of time wasted and a fair bit of utility gone as well, with the Lion scans being down to just one remaining, which is likely to get resolved or waiting. Likely to get held for the post plant, assuming we even get to that point. We're a minute and a half in. We've got just under half of the round left. And yeah, seeing the defense doing a good job of holding this attack back. And that is what the roamers up on that top floor want to do, is to stop the attackers from making too much ground early on and force them into that last few second push, that 20-second meta that we all know about from previous seasons. It's going to force them into that kind of play. As the ED comes out, it's not going to be capitalized on, as we see. It's still remaining as a 5 versus 50 seconds left to go, and Sledge upstairs doing a whole lot of damage to the floor, trying to put attackers out of position.
He does get a kill there. Lukeda doing work on that Sledge, and there goes another kill for Asma. He gets another as he drops down the hatch. Kex trading that off, but now here goes another trade, this time from just Pex. And it's now a 2v2 between both of these teams. Toucan and Asma in the 2v2 situation for Machine Soldiers, and just just Pat and Kex in the 2v2 for qvG. There goes some missed shot from Asma. He just misses out on the Aruni, and he looks up, but he just misses his shot, and he just misses the Aruni yet again. He's going to jump right over, and there goes the catch from just Pat, as it now leaves Toucan in a 1v2 situation. He has the fuser, but he doesn't have enough time to plant, and well, now he's going to try and plant, but with two people staring right at you, you have no chance. I mean, in that situation, there was not a lot he could do. I felt like that round, it could have been won by Machine Soldiers Academy. It was just like a misplay, mainly from Asma, the Finka. If he would have gotten the kill on the Aruni in the first place, I felt like that round would have been theirs, obviously, because it's a 2v1, and then all you have to do is pinch the last playing in that cool vibes hallway. But that round goes to qvG, and I'm gonna say it's a strong one to start it off, but I felt like that was a little bit closer than what I'm thinking it might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, so we did get down to that last few seconds for the game there, and it did force Machine Soldiers into trying to make plays. Asma played it very smartly. He pushed down, he went for that default camera, knowing that he was going to get spotted, not realizing that Rooney was still there waiting to peek out, and just classic Siege timing. Just as he went for that cam, Rooney poked herself out there and then moved back into blue bar. And it was a great play from Asma to think to, vault out into the courtyard. He held the angle for a moment, but vaulted out to capitalize on the fact that he realized Rooney would likely be right by that wall. But unfortunately for him, we had someone in Sunrise just looking out through the doorway, got the pick, leaving us in one player in a 1 versus 2. And unfortunately, yeah, just not enough time to really get that diffuser down and make an impact. So a good strong round there for qvG. As for round number 2, we go back up to the standard site number 1, which is going to be hookah and billiards. So a very common site. Typically we see this first, but coming out second. And I think that the guys and girls from Machine Soldiers will be a little bit more prepared for this one.
Yeah, it's a more common site that you do see played from defenders. If they're not prepared for hookah billiards, then I don't know what they could be prepared for on this map. Because quite literally, like I just said, it is the most played site for defenders. It's probably the more safer options for defenders. If not this site, then the reworked version of Penthouse Theater. I want to say reworked version, but it's mainly that VIP extension that's really made that site more powerful. And it's going to start off with, well, not a entry, but this time a kill from the side of Sir Googie, who starts this round off with a Nitro Cell kill onto Asma, and that's your Lion gone. And as we all know, Lion is actually very, very powerful on a map like Coastline, because the map is so small, so it's easy to isolate these defenders. And with the Lion scanner doing its things, once you find those defenders, it's easier to isolate them and kill them once they are frozen into place by that Lion scanner, because if they move, then they're exposed because of that scanner. But the Lion is gone, so it now just leaves the Finka and the Sledge to kind of work together on this entry job, as we see Toucan use his Habana pellets to make some holes into these soft walls from VIP into this hallway that leads to billiards and also hookah.
Yeah, so we've got a pretty standard take being set up here, where you want to attack in VIP get that wall open, so you've got the long angle into the site, allowing you to see behind the bar and also over to the billiards table if you pick the right position. So that's going to be known and understood by the defense, and they're going to be ready and waiting for that. But we have Oryx on this big room, but then just seems to know about it. Comes downstairs, gets the headshot, and suddenly puts his team at the man advantage. 4 versus 3 now, with 1 minute left to go. And this is looking a little bit more promising for Machine Soldiers. We've got 2 players stacking up on that balcony. We are going to get 2 very quick frags, and then another one follows it up, leaving us in the 2 versus 2. And we now see Aquarium in full control of the attackers, but they only can go for a default plant at this point. And this is exactly what Goody and F2 are set up for. They've got the gas grenades, they've got the line of sight with the guns. This is going to be a very, very difficult one for Toucan and Den to overcome.
You see Den actually making his rotation to the 90 hallway, and this is just as about as much as he can do. He's going to catch the Jaeger first, but he's going to be the left worst aware from that gunfight. But Goody's actually down elsewhere by Toucan, and Toucan finally confirms that kill, but it's now up to the smoke of F2, who gets traded out very, very swiftly by Toucan. And that was a much better round for Machine Soldiers Academy, but that almost could have collapsed from letting that player behind that blue bar completely smoked them on that balcony area. That could have gone south for them had that blue bar player escaped with his life, but he didn't. And Den I want to say Den I felt like Den was the main factor in Machine Soldiers winning that round. He was the real wild card for me. He made some really nice plays. He was moving really nice around the maps, and once he got one pick, you didn't see him just like stay in that one part of the area. You saw him move into areas where he felt he could be the most effective, and I was really happy that he decided to move into 90 for himself and for his team, because I felt like that rotation there was crucial, because it not only distracted the Jaeger from looking at that default plant spot, but it also distracted the smoke and made him have to worry about that player in that 90 hallway. I mean, that was a very impactful round in short by Den.
Yeah, I've casted Den for over a year now, and Den, I've always called him out on it. He's very much a flank type of operator. He is a flanker, and he did that perfectly at the end there. That's the classic move from Den, is to be committed to attack and then just suddenly say, no, I'm going to go around the other way. I'm going to take the time to see if I can make something happen by going away that they're not expecting. And normally I wouldn't support, the last 2 players splitting up, but in that case it obviously worked very, very well for them. Now, we almost get Den getting taken out at the start there, just like Asma did in the last round. That classic spawn peek coming out of Fuka window, and Den did get tagged a fair bit, but he has managed to get away with his life, unlike Asma in the last round. So they do still have their full complement of players, as Den and Discount are making their way up here to DJ booth to start pushing into VIP, just for a very similar take to what we saw last time. We are back at Hookah and Billiards, and for the first time, we see Machine Soldiers get that first kill and take that man advantage for the very first time at the start of the round. So this is looking promising for Machine Soldiers. They had a good round last time. Perfect. It took them longer and they lost more bodies than they should have done. But they should hopefully have learned enough where they can attack this much more efficiently this time around.
Yeah, Kata's actually pushed or was shot down. Now he's like down to like 5 or I think that's about 1 HP. But the player that's on 0 is actually going to Discount. Tex able to trade out his teammate Sergugi, and just Pat making that even worse for Machine Soldiers Academy by grabbing a kill onto Dinstar. The same player that I was hopping on last round is out for this round, and there's a player crouch spamming in 90, but Kex on the swing. I mean, that's a whiff and a half, and it's now a 3v3 between both of these teams. Toucan is going to stay in that that penthouse theater area, whereas you see Asma is actually in the luggage area, but he's gonna get down, but he's not out. I don't know if Goody knows about this, but he does have another player approaching him, and he does have 2 players down inside of luggage, and that's also the diffuser down. So I mean, the last player alive is Luketa, and Luketa is quite literally on a sliver of HP. You could breathe on him from China, and he would fall. I mean, there's no way he wins this round. Diffuser's all the way in luggage. That's where the defenders have control. The defenders have control of that. Goody is on this main stairs, and he actually does commit suicide with the nade. I actually cannot.
I didn't even mean to. I don't think he did. No.
No. Wow. There you go. I mean, he was quite literally on 1 HP. The blast radius on Siege is not a joke at all.
Yeah, that's an oof. I don't think you definitely don't expect to die from that distance to your own grenade. That's unfortunate. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Well, that's another round in the bag for qvG. I talked about that hopefully being a stronger round for machine soldiers than the previous round, but it definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't. That was a much better round there for qvG than the previous one. So having won that, they are going to go to Penthouse and Theatre. And it's interesting that we're not seeing Kitchen coming into play here. Kitchen and Service is normally the secondary site for most teams, but Penthouse and Theatre clearly being in the qvG meta. What do you make of this one, 1B?
I can see the wisdom in that. The thing about Penthouse Theater now compared to what it was before Coastline had that little. People call it a rework. I call it quality of life changes because it only
Yeah.
changed like a few things about this map. You know, the big one being service entrance and then also VIP. The main thing about VIP now is that you don't have that big window that can just be shot open from the balcony. You have a wall that you're able to reinforce where the attackers now have to extend their utility to try and open that wall so they can try and take control of VIP. So in theory, or well, in short, if you want me to explain it that way, I'm sorry, because I don't know why, but I go into a lot of detail when I talk about stuff. But in short, it's a lot harder to now take control of VIP compared to what it was before because in when you when that window was there, you could just shoot it open, and then now you have a free control inside of VIP, and you can watch for any rotations coming in from the main hallway. It's not as simple as that anymore. You have to open that wall, and you have to use your utility. That's why Kaid is so powerful in this map. Well, he's powerful. He's mainly powerful in this type. He's not really that good on this map in general. I feel like he's mainly powerful on Penthouse Theater because of the extension of that VIP hold. And I mean, look at the setup that they have now in Penthouse, between Penthouse and VIP, the rotations and all that. It's just, it's a lot different. I kind of like what they did with this wall. It offers a lot of creativity to this site.
It used to be with the window there. It used to be you just didn't really want to hold VIP. It was just a death sentence, just putting yourself in there. The classic specifically for this would have been just bounce in with Thermite Thatcher, open up that bedroom wall, get in a plant behind the bed, and of course, it became a thing where you'd ban Thatcher every single game, in which case that became a little more challenging. But that was still the way it was done, and why a lot of people didn't go to Penthouse and Theatre. But putting that wall on the outside now, instead of a window, gives you a whole load more opportunities, and something that qvG are looking to capitalize on here, though. But Goody has not managed to capitalize on it. He's very low on health and is in big trouble here, as it looks like he's pinned down in Theatre, with Luqueta just holding the long angle, waiting for him to show his face. He's in a fair bit of trouble here, but still a strong hold being put into place by qvG. There's still 1 minute 15 seconds left to go. There's a lot of work to be done by machine soldiers. A lot of work.
Yeah, there's not a lot that's been done by Machine Soldiers Academy, and it's pretty odd to say because they're on attack on the coastline. There's not a lot of work that needs to be done to take control of the site. I mean, look, Queta didn't even really use a lot of utility here, and he's already in the site. He is going to get into a gunfight with the only player that's actually on site, and there's possibly going to be some rotations there, and there goes Asma possibly catching one of them out, and that's Kex, and there's a player right just below him, and just Pat, but Goody's actually down on site. Sir Googie's in a gunfight as well, and the plant is going down by Tuka. This is a 5v3 situation. The fuse is already down, not 5v2, then grabbing a kill for himself, and it's theoretically, well, now it's a 1v5 for just Pat, and he has 36 seconds to find 5 players from the Academy. I've never seen a 1v5 clutch, and we're not going to see it now. I've seen it happen before, but it was from Nesk, and that was years ago when he was on Black Dragons. You're not going to see it now. Yeah, there you go.
This isn't Nesk playing, unfortunately. No.
Unfortunately.
So, I mean, I said machine soldiers had a lot of work to do, and they did a lot of work, and they did it very, very quickly. Surprising turnaround from them. I guess they were just sitting, getting the intel they needed, getting into position, biding their time, and waiting for that strike. My word, did they strike? And they struck hard. That was a really good round for machine soldiers. Like I say, started out very slow, but fantastic last minute. So well played to them for putting that coordinated attack together. Now, Kitchen and Service is the site we're going to go to next. What are you expecting to see here, 1B?
I don't know. The mirror is banned,
Attackers need
so
to
we're not.
locate
I
and
was.
defuse as many
I
bombs
would
as
have
they
said if
can.
the mirror were not banned, I would have said that if they, because
Attackers have discovered
I
the
feel like on
location
this
of a
site a
bomb.
lot of the times when people pick it, especially again when the mirror is not banned, they usually play a they usually have like a top floor extended roam type deal where they have set up in the hallway, the main hallway of that 90 corridor, and also a setup in a theater where they have mirrors facing the bathroom area. Because usually on kitchen, the main thing that you do want to do as an attacker is take
10
vertical
seconds to
control, so
insertion.
that way you can just open up holes and force defenders out of positions. Because coastline,
5 seconds to insertion.
it is a very uncomfortable map as it is without the attackers doing
Attackers
work
are
on it
moving
for
to
the
defuse a
defenders.
bomb.
If they can establish vertical control and make these defenders panic, it makes it even more, it makes it 100 times more uncomfortable for them to not only play inside, but also really rotate, because then you have players on the attack covering those rotates. But it's yet to be seen. I mean, we do have Lucada on this sledge, and I'm expecting to see that vertical play, the vertical control coming in from Machine Soldiers Academy.
Yeah, so we've got qvG playing upstairs as, as the Oryx. He was doing a good job of just keeping people guessing, but Asma managed to track him down perfectly, get that headshot and take him out of play. And Machine Soldiers have taken a dominating start here within the first 30 seconds, taking out a key roamer for the side of qvG. Now, qvG unfortunately hasn't been too impactful. He's only going 2 and 5 right now. He's not the strongest fragger for qvG by any means, but he is a key time waster as Asma manages to make his way in and start taking down the utility and get control of that top floor, getting ready for the attack from above. What Machine Soldiers are likely to want to do is take control of the VIP area and make sure they can open up the floor, make sure there's no one in kitchen, and possibly go for a jump in through kitchen. But at the same time, they could be going for an assault straight here into the service entrance, which is what we're seeing the Quetta open up the holes in the floor. Positions out of the way in that little I don't know what you call it. It's like a little box with some beer cakes and shells in it. I don't know what you call it, but that's a very common place for an attacker, or for a defender rather, to sit. So clearing out that position, and as we can see, there is one player there at the moment. But as long as you keep opening up those holes, that applies pressure to that one player, who is actually the only one on site. And if Machine Soldiers can read into this, they could make a very quick play.
Ooh, that's actually, I think that is the player on site that they just killed, and it's gonna be made even worse for qvG Academy, or I'm so sorry, qvG Esports, as they are now stuck in a 2v4. Kex and F2 are stuck in a situation, and Kex might find himself in a gunfight. Well, he's stuck between 2 players. There you go, security and main door, and he's going to be taken out by Tukin on that main door, and it leaves F2 in this 1v4 situation. But he's all on his lonesome. He's all the way, well, he's not really all the way off site. He's around the site, you know, but he's against 4 Machine Soldiers Academy's players. And if you know anything about Machine Soldiers Academy, they are very hungry for these kills, and they know exactly where he's at, and they're just going to bum rush him. There he goes. There goes Takeda. I thought Den was gonna be the first one to die there, because he just jumped right over, and he could have quite literally just jumped into the sights of F2. But there goes Lucado on the swing. Nice bit of teamwork from MSA to win that round, and they right now are in lead, and they could potentially take this half 4-2, or we could see qvG 3-3 on the half as they head into their attacks. And I would say, well, in terms of them heading into their halves, qvG, even if it's 4-2 or 3-3, I feel like they'd be in pretty good hands, because I've said it before, but Coastline is an attacker-sided map. So the advantage is in the hands of the attackers right now.
So, yeah, the Quetta was, I mean, we saw them lose a 1v5 in the previous round. A 1v4 was a little bit more likely they could, but clearly it didn't happen. Quetta gave his position away. He was just off site, and with 4 members of Machine Soldiers pushing from the other side, all he could do was either take those gunfights or try to fall back. And the more he falls back, then the more control he gives to the site. So he couldn't afford to do that even. He just basically had to take on those gunfights. He had the pick onto Den, but with the Quetta coming through the kitchen area, there wasn't really anything that last player could do. Oh no, that's not what you want. We've got our Oryx rather, down to half health already. That's unfortunate for qvG. But yeah, Quetta came in from the other side, had Den's back, managed to get that last pick, and yeah, round went to Machine Soldiers, and they're starting to steal this game a little bit. And if qvG are going to continue injuring their own teammates like this, then, you know, that could be the case. But fortunately, we have Thunderbird on the board, and Just Pat is going to get himself back up to full health. So no big loss. No big loss.
Yeah, but it does take a while for those Kona stations to recharge, so they're gonna have to wait a while for them to fully recharge so they can actually, when they're actually in those gunfights for real, you know, they'll have to wait for them to eventually charge, so they can't really risk their life too much. But that's not gonna stop qvG from trying, and I mean, just look at that. Denster grabbing the first kill, grabbing the first pick, and that's again the first pick going in the way of MSA as he grabs Goody, and that's your Jaeger down. And it's a bit unfortunate because when you look at the frag game between both of these teams and you compare them both, Machine Soldiers Academy are just winning. Denstar now going on 6-3 as he grabs the Oryx of Just Pat. And that's 2 of your roamers gone. So it now leaves 3 of these players that are playing close to site, if not inside the actual site, just left in this 5v3 situation, and it's not going to take long for the attackers to make these defenders very, very, very uncomfortable, or to make them sweat in their pants, to make them make those little mistakes that end up, you know, making sweat in their pants. What? That's not the same. There you go. Well, okay. But
so we get a quick refrag there coming out from F2, and he starts to balance things out a bit more. 3 versus 4. We've got some good ground being made up by Machine Soldiers here. They've, unlike a previous round or 2, they've managed to do a lot of damage very, very quickly to get down to this 3 versus 4. Asthma's going to make all of the defenders stand still in their tracks, but they are pretty much all on site. So not really the ideal use for the utility. It hasn't been capitalized on, but that's still got 1 left, and that is likely to come out in the post plant. This is Hookah and Billiards. We've got the diffuse. So we are for plant, it looks like. Pings are going out, given the calls from Kex to say, hey, this is where the plant is likely to be, and everyone is going to be getting ready for that. We've still got 1 player from the attack up on the roof. 1 player falls, another one goes down, but not out. On his own qvG4 players from Machine Soldiers, and it looks like we are going to get the 4-2 split here as we go into the second half. qvG is the last man standing in the 1v4. We've seen it all too many times, Wimby. Can he clutch this up?
I would hope not, for Machine Soldier's sake. There goes 2 quick picks in his way, and he's now with the Bearing 9 in hand. He can reload his primary gun, and there goes the Spear. Probably one of the better guns in the game, and it's in the hands of a Thunderbird, a player that can just inject herself with crack to replenish her health. But these post plants position being played by MSA is going to make her job a lot harder retaking, and she's on a diffuser, but again she has to worry about 2 players. There's a player in luggage and also a player upside down repelled on this double door. And oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. He's now in a 1v1 situation. He is going to try and defuse, and Asma, you have to hurry up. There goes the swing, and Sir Googie almost could have gotten that clutch, but oh my god. Like I said, I hope for MSA's sake that they didn't lose that, but Jesus Christ, that was super, that was way too close. I don't know what to tell you. They're 4-2 up though. I give them that, but I don't know. I don't know.
That was a buttock clenching end to the first round, that much is for sure. Yeah, it looked like Asma wasn't going to make it on time. Very, very close to getting that diffuser disabled there on the part of the defense. So, yeah, fair play to Asma. It looked like he was going to miss it, but he got there just in the nick of time, managed to win that one. And like you say, Machine Soldiers go into the second half 4-2 up, and that's not a bad position to be in. You've talked about it several times with Coastline being an attacker-sided map. So a lot of people will expect this to be where Machine Soldiers would be at this point in the game, having started on attack. In a lot of games I've seen more recently on Coastline, though, Coastline has seemed a little bit more defender-favoured. So I'm not really sure what to make of the split. But either way you look at it, it's still very good for Machine Soldiers. It's not impossible for qvG to come back from this. It's very possible for them to overtake Machine Soldiers or take us to overtime at this point. And it is still anybody's game, but this position for Machine Soldiers to be in, and with the way they've looked so far, certainly in the last 3 rounds at least, I think they're well placed to possibly take this map, but I don't want to curse it.
No, I mean, it does look good for it. That's the one thing that I did forget to mention. I said it so many times about the rework, quality of life, whatever you want to call it, but despite the coastline being a attacker side of the map. It is in its own right. It can't. It with the reworks and the changes, it has most definitely favored. Well, okay, there you go, qvG getting the first pick of the game. I was gonna talk about how like with the reworks and the changes to coastline, it's most definitely given defenders a leg up and more of a breather on this map. And the statistics will show you that it's a little bit more balanced, but slightly skewed in the favor of the attackers then. But it's now an early man advantage for the side of qvG, and qvG again, but Goody this
Wow.
time getting a pick onto Discount. Discount is the only player on the side of Machine Soldiers Academy going negative. He's going 1-5, but you know, when your whole team is playing well, you're obviously going to have your bottom fragger. Goody getting another pick this time onto Asthma, and it now leaves 2 defenders on the side of Machine Social Academy. Now 1 defender as Denster is taking out, and this could just be a really quick flawless round.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Oh, there you go. There goes the flawless. I mean, you know, I was gonna say it in the beginning in the pre-show, but qvG do have a 100% win rate on Coastline. They picked it 3 times, they played it 4 times, and they have a 4-0 record. They're really good on this map. Whereas for MSA, they've only played it, or Machine Soldier Academy, they've only played it once, and they've only won it once, and they've won it 7-4. Where I think as the score lines for qvG have been like what 7-1, 7-0, 7-4, or something like that. It's not been very close games whenever qvG played, but this is a lot closer than a lot of people would have expected it to be, especially with the community poll and the community
Attackers
votes
need
and
to
whatnot.
locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, so like you say,
Attackers
although
discovered the
we've
location
seen
of a
Machine
bomb.
Soldiers with a 100% win record, 100% playing it once isn't really a great indicator. And as you say, a 7-4 there, you know, it's not a runaway victory, whereas the victories for qvG and the scores that we've reeled off is a much more dominating scoreline to have at the end of each map, and do it consistently as well suggests that this is a really good map for qvG. I guess hence them picking it for their very first choice. They wanted to make sure they got it. They must feel most comfortable on this map. So I'm expecting to see a lot more coming out here from qvG. Clearly they did very
5 seconds
round,
remaining.
turning the tables onto Machine Soldiers, who had a great run for 3 rounds in a row. But then qvG have just flipped it round and said, hey, we can have our runaway rounds as well. It's not just you who attack stuff. And they did it. To be fair, they were a lot more dominating on their attack than we saw from Machine Soldiers when they were on attack, in my opinion. So maybe defending just isn't for qvG on this map, as we see it to get the early pick. This could be where things really turn around and qvG just run away with it.
Yeah, they're really screwing up my point about Coastline being a little bit more balanced since the rework. As in the past 2 rounds, again, MSA or Machine Soldier Academy. I keep calling them MSA because it's shorter, but for them, they've been the first pick for the first like 30 or 40 seconds, which is not good on a defense on Coastline. And it's going to be made easier if Asthma is isolated in this position in Penthouse, which again, for defenders, it's very easy to get isolated on a small map like Coastline. And if they know exactly where he is, he could be isolated and he could be taken care of very quickly. But it doesn't look like qvG have any knowledge of him being there. If he is still there, I'm not too sure where Asthma is now. But at the moment, it's just a little bit of a standstill. qvG haven't really made any advances towards this site. If I haven't seen any. But they do have a player. Okay, Asthma really rotated all. How did he get there?
I have no idea. It's a mystery to me.
You're confused, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the hatch in Penthouse is
I would
closed.
assume the hatch. Well, there's still the one in there's still the one there in luggage, which he probably dropped through. Perhaps he just ducked out of VIP into luggage.
Oh, you know, because I just thought like there's a player in billiards, there's a player in hookah. I didn't think he could stay right in front of them, but he somehow got away. But it's okay. You see
The
these
man's
players
like a ghost. He's like a ghost. He just moves around. No idea where he is.
like the phasmophobia ghosts. Just, you won't know it till you hear your heart thump, and there you go. But oh my God,
Well,
what is Kata doing?
We are seeing qvG being very dominant here again in this second round. Machine Soldiers just don't really seem to know how to handle this one. Den is actually going to get a kill on the defense, but is it going to be impactless? It's Finker out of the way, so that is some reviving capabilities off the board. But Discount's going to get one. Now, he's not been doing too right. That's his second kill of the game only. But just are starting to pick this up on this kitchen defense. This is looking pretty good right now for them. We do have two players, though, playing very far off site. If qvG can get control of that kitchen, they can get the plant, and they are starting to go through it. Two very quick frags. Den is the last man standing. He's going to hear that plant going down, but Sledge, playing behind the bomb chassis, knows exactly where Den is likely to be, holds that angle, gets that pick just as Den shows his face. To be very hard, even showed his face. Fair play. Nice round there from qvG. It started to look a little bit shaky for them in those dying seconds, but some very quick kills came out, and qvG just turned the tides. So well played to them as they even it out 4-4. So we're back with it being literally anybody's game now. Both teams just needing 3 rounds to win.
Yeah, the difference in lineups. I'm not gonna really talk about the play style, but the lineups that I'm seeing from qvG compared to what Machine Soldiers had on their attacks is we do see the double soft breachers, which is Sledge and Buck. And I feel like that has done wonders for their lineup. Well, mainly on that kitchen site because of how easily they were able to take control of that second floor and also make as many vertical angles as possible. I mean, if you deal with one of them, then you won't have the other one being as effective as he would have been if the other one was still alive. I mean, he would still be effective, but not as effective if you have both of them alive. But both of them were kept alive for most of that matchup. And again, you have those vertical angles being established by both of them in 2 separate rooms, in penthouse above service and also in VIP above kitchen, where it's easy for them, once they have, again, those vertical angles established, I've said it so many times, it's easier for these attackers to move these defenders out of positions to the sights of other attackers just waiting for them. And I think it's not only that, but it's also the aggression that qvG have brought on this attack that MSA are frankly put, or was just simply put, bluntly put, are just not ready for. And it's really showing in these attacking rounds that we do see. Reloading ammo.
Yeah, and I think the bringing out the Buck and the Sledge also works very well for this particular site of hookah and biddies that we're going for. I'd expect the kind of thing I'd be expecting to come out from qvG to make use of that Buck is something that's become quite common, I think, where you send your Buck into blue bar, and what you want to do is open up all of the floor right underneath the default plant. And what that allows you to do, of course, is once the plant is done, you can hold that diffuser from not just aquarium or the balcony like we saw in one of the previous rounds when Machine Soldiers were holding, but you can hold it from underneath using those holes that the Buck has created. So it's a very good soft breach because unlike Sledge, who can only really work horizontally and from above, you have Buck who can work from down below horizontally and from above as well. So you've got that extra dimension to Buck, and as we hear, there are holes getting opened up at Buck already, which is completely expected. We always have someone sitting behind the bar, pretty much, when you're defending this site. Having Buck down there, applying that pressure, allows you to make sure that aquarium is very, very free. Then the only thing left to worry about players in they're going to be holding from behind the bomb chassis, which we have seen so many times. However, it looks like qvG might actually be going for a hookah plant, as we saw F2 out on the balcony, and that looks like that is where they're going.
Yeah, you see Kex is establishing his position on this big window, whereas F2 does have the diffuser right by that hookah doorway. So if he decides to run in, he could possibly just run behind those couches. But it's not as simple as that. You know, in any case, especially in like just ranked itself, players usually just have a rotation right next to the stairwell, right behind where those couches are. So if a player just decides to run in behind the couches to try and get an easy plant off, Jesus Christ, what are you doing, Lucada? And there goes Kex to get the first pick for qvG. I mean, it wasn't the first pick within the first 30 seconds, but that's still a really careless play from Lucada. And then on this way below, is going to shoot at 2 players of qvG, but he's not going to find one. Pat just finds the trade onto the Ayana that was just killed, and then Stars. They knew about him, but they aren't able to deal with him. And now they're trying to get the plants off in the 3v2 situation. You have Kex still on this big window, whereas Asma is in blue. Den Star is below. He doesn't have a Nitro Soul in hand, and he's also going to get shut down by Goody. And the last player alive is Asma in blue, and they know exactly where he's at. The drone just confirms it. There goes the kill into Keps, but he's on very low HP against two, well, decently HP'd qvG players. F2 and Goody, and Finka still has some of her boosts left to play with, and he has 20 seconds left to find. He's going to miss his pre-fire, and there you go. The player that he was looking for was Goody, but he pre-fires into the 90 corridor hallway, whereas Goody was quite literally behind the base, the shattered base. Just like MSA's shattered dreams on this map. It's just continuous.
It was looking good for Machine Soldiers for a few moments there. We saw Den having, like I talked about earlier, a bit of a flank playing as mute down below, managed to come round. And although he didn't get that pick onto Iana, he did manage to distract them long enough to allow Wamai to be able to come down that blue staircase and manage to help Den get the kills onto the two players that were there pushing their way up Cool Vibes. So it was a very good play from Den. Unfortunately, we saw him lose his C a little bit too early. We saw that the two players were in hookah. They were starting to get that plant down, or just about to get that plant down. Den sent the C4 through the default rotate, but unfortunately he just missed the position, allowing that plant to go down, leaving himself with no plant denial to be able to go underneath and explode or blow up those two players through the floor. He left himself with nothing really to be able to hold on to that position and to stop that plant from going down. Once the plant went down, that was it. That was all she wrote, really. You've got one player on the window. You've got another one in hookah. There wasn't really anything that Asma would be able to do, especially not with an operator as lackluster when it comes to utility as Warden. I mean, I'm not saying Warden's bad, but when you're in a 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3 in a post plant, and you're bringing the shield, he doesn't really have much to increase his clutch power. So yeah, that was unfortunate for Machine Soldiers, but well played by qvG, who managed to come back from a traumatic experience on Cool Vibe stairs, still get that plant down, and managed to take the round. And they now take the lead for the first time, actually. I think no, for the second time in this matchup. We see qvG taking the lead 5-4 and edging their way closer to taking a win on map number 1, Coastline, which was their map pick.
Yeah, it's just a little bit wow. What?
That was an interesting. That was an interesting choice.
I looked away. For a second. Didn't get that kill, but it was discount on the checks. And that was a fairly early pick, but that is a very, very quick trade. Just as I say that, just Pat end up grabbing Den. And this defensive path from MSA hasn't been as impressive as their attacking half, but qvG has really awoken. I was gonna say awoken. I might have cast the curse them, but they're Doogie onto the Kata, and there goes the Aruni that just kills his own teammate. So it's not a 3v3 between both of these teams, and it hasn't even been a minute that's gone by quite yet. I think Googie is actually in luggage with the diffuser in hand, and that's kind of odd to see the Ayana on the diffuser in hand in such an aggressive position, and she's going to use her clone to actually grab some intel as well. The camera's going to catch that, as they didn't get rid of the default cameras, and Goody is just below these players with his base as well. But yeah, get your defaults, Siege 101.
You gotta get your defaults at this level. You gotta get your defaults. 3 versus 3, 1.5 minutes left to go. We can see Finka starting to make her way towards Cool Vibe stairs, but the position is going to be given away by the proxy, and she's going to back out. Now, we have a firm hold up here by Hookah and Vase, by Toucan, and also Discount, who's going to be playing there, holding that Cool Vibe stairs. And we've got the standard Crossfire playing behind the couch as well. In the bar, pink bar, so a very common hold coming out from the defensive side. Let's see what the attackers can do to get past this. We have, how many grenades do we have? It says 4 up in the corner, but Sledge is dead. You can't always rely on that being the case. So they've got some grenades left. They can still use those. That will allow them to clear out some positions if they want to. We've got no Jaeger on the board, interestingly. We just have Wamai. So there is a chance that those grenades can still be very effective if the attackers are cautious with them. 35 seconds left to go. We can see a default plant being set up here. There's one of the frag grenades that I talked about, 3 versus 2, and things looking very, very good right now. As Asma yet again is standing in a 1 versus 3, but he's going to get picked off by Just Pat, and that is another one going the way of qvG Esports as they take themselves to match point. They just need one more round, and this is their map.
Jesus Christ, what is going on? It was just a 4-2 split
Yeah.
from Machine Soldiers, and they haven't grabbed the round since. It's just been qvG, qvG, and now qvG on match and map point. And this doesn't bode well. I mean, this is qvG's map pick. They do have a 100% win record. So do MSA, but qvG more so because their record is a 4-0, and most of their score lines, whenever they have played Coast this season, has been very dominant. So it's a little bit it's not odd to see qvG in this position, but it's odd to see MSA playing this way because I'm not used
Attackers
to
need to
seeing
locate and
MSA,
defuse as many
or
bombs as they
I
can.
keep calling them MSA because it's shorter, but because I can't keep saying Machine Soldiers because it's a tongue twister. But for me, it's
Bomb
just a bit
located
odd to
by
see because
attackers.
I'm so used to seeing these players play with like a lot of determination and a lot of energy. And right now on Coastline, where you do need that energy on not just your attacks, but mainly on your defenses to keep up with the attacker's pace, it doesn't bode well for them, and they might just they might just go a map down so early on in this series.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, so a lot of people expecting qvG to take the
5
win.
seconds left.
If they take it on Coastline, then we kind of expect that it's their map pick. When we get onto Bank, we'll
Attackers are
see
moving to defuse
what
the
Machine
bomb.
Soldiers managed to bring out. That was their map pick. They've chosen, or well, did they choose? I'm not sure they did. They'll be starting on attack either way. So Machine Soldiers will be starting on attack. We saw them do very well on attack on Coastline. I think a lot of people did a Bank and attacking favoured map to a degree. The basement not quite so much, but certainly the rest of the map is very well favoured for attack at times. So let's see what happens when we get to Bank, but that's important right now. What we're looking at is Coastline with qvG having the edge, but Luqueta is going to a little bit of the sting out of that edge that qvG have by getting the first pick onto F2. And F2 has been doing good work for his team. Not the top fragger by any means, but he has been a very strong player. There come the frag grenades from qvG, again managing to pick off more players, but Sir Gucci is going to go down and get finished off by Den, leaving us in a 2 versus 4 in favor of Machine Soldiers.
Yeah, this isn't looking too well for qvG this round, and it's made even worse. He tries to finger himself up, but then saw you go down. And it's now a 1v4 situation. This is the first time, well, in this defensive half for MSA, that we've seen them have such a good man count between both of these teams. And, I mean, well, yeah, between both of these teams, this is the first time where they've had, like, a really, really good man advantage. Because they haven't won a single defensive round. And this could be that defensive round where they put themselves just one round away from bringing us into overtime. And I'm not gonna lie, I could totally see this match going into overtime. And I don't know if my head can take it because we quite literally had 2 overtimes in a row yesterday. I'm not sure if I'm prepared for it. But Kex is going to move himself into security, and he's going to try and find himself a pick or two because there's no way he's clutching this out unless MSA just decide to throw every single player at him one at a time, and Kex just decides to be Bolo for this one round and hit every single headshot. But I don't think he's gonna find a single one.
There's not really much he can go for. He's probably got a good idea. There's someone at the bottom of that staircase. He's going to chuck that grenade. Oh, no. Another magnet position has been clearly given away. And that frag grenade goes out from Kex in an attempt to make Asthma panic and move back. But Asthma, balls of steel, just stands there, waits for the sledge, manages to get that pick, and finally puts a defensive round on the board for Machine Soldiers. It's the first one we've seen them win. Now, if we do go to overtime, which at the moment, I'm not sure. 1 round out of 5 for Machine Soldiers isn't great, but maybe it's the start of the turnaround as we go to Penthouse and Theatre. But if we do go to overtime, it's going to be interesting with the fact that we are going to see qvG have 2 chances at attack, whereas Machine Soldiers will only have 1 chance at attack. Now, if we get to an overtime at this point, I think we would quite happily argue that this map has been attacker favored, which means that qvG in an overtime situation should have the advantage, even if they don't lock it down right now at the end of this round. They have to win this round in order to take this map cleanly. If they don't, then we get overtime, and I think even if we go to overtime, it's likely to be qvG's. I wouldn't be surprised to see qvG win at the end of the map. I don't know what you're thinking, Wimby, but I wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised at what?
At a qvG win at the end of this map.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won it right now. I mean, that was the first time in a couple of rounds that we've seen MSA have like a man advantage. Well, a really clear man advantage to the point where I had hope that round. There was no way they could lose the situation, even if it is defense on coastline. There's no excuse if you lose a
10 seconds left
on
before
coastline,
insertion.
but they didn't. And I mean, I could. It's just
5
I
seconds
feel
left
like
before insertion.
I mean they're when I think of MSA, you know, I mean I think of Den
And defuse it.
and just the vibes that he puts out. This is a vibes team. If the vibes are good, then the games are good. And I feel like after that round win, he's definitely gonna be pumping his team up, being like, "Yo, we got this." I don't know. I can't imitate his accent because that first of all that's rude. But what's also rude is Discount taking some damage very early on into this round, and he might just be the first pick because he's playing very, very aggressive onto these players on this hookah bout. And it's Sir Googie and also FT. Both players have been having some decent games for qvG. I mean, they're both going even as they both have a 1.0 KD, but they have been having very decent games. And Discount has actually picked it up over these last few rounds. He was just
Yeah.
1-5 when it was like a 4-2 split, and he's done well to bring himself back up to 5, but he needs to do more if he wants his team to bring an overtime match. Well, yeah, if he wants to make this an overtime. But there goes some shots ranging from both teams, and both teams are actually taking damage, but more so on the side of qvG, X2, Just Pat, and Kex, and also Sir Kugi taking some hits. But at the moment, no kills. It's 1 minute and 45 left to go, and it's been about a minute or so into this round.
Yeah, still a lot of work to do. We've got half of the round left, or just coming up to half the round left. We are going to see Discount fall, and that grenade's going to go down to finish the job just as good. He gets picked off himself. So 4 versus 4, and we don't have any players on qvG that are at we have half of the players on Machine Soldiers at full health, and still 3 gas grenades in the pocket of Toucan. This could be very, very difficult for qvG to work their way through here. Toucan could be the thorn in the side, having those 3 gas grenades. That could be exactly what is needed to stop this plant. Asthma is going to be Electroclaw tricking, it seems. I assume that's the outside wall with Laquetta backing him up. Yes, that is going to be the outside wall as we see Hibana starting to make her way in through Qatar. We've got 2 players pushing in from that side. So Asthma is going to get spotted by 2 drones. They know that he's there, and we are going to get an aggressive push onto him. They need to take him out of play and start making their way towards the site. We've got Kex down below, pulling the hatch. He's not going to be able to do anything after that because he's got no more grenades. Now we do see a very quick trade there, putting us to a 3 versus 3 with Den and F2 both on equally low health. F2 moving in for the plant in Penthouse, but Sir Guji is going to fall, leaving Kex and F2 on their own against 3 players. Gas grenades going out, and 2 does have enough to hold back this plant for the rest of this round with just 15 seconds to go. The second one out, Kex is going to be the last man standing on a 1 versus 3. That's the triple kill to Laquetta, and it looks like we are going to get overtime. Can your head take it, Wimpy?
No. You know, I got blue light glasses. I got my prescription like a couple of weeks ago, or no, like 2 weeks ago, or a week ago. I don't remember. But like, I got blue light glasses, blue light frames, because you know I've been getting some gnarly headaches because I stare at my screen way too much. I don't have them on because they make my head uncomfortable as well. So I might need to get those refitted. So right now, this might just screw me over, and I have another series to cast tomorrow. Well, not really a series, but another game in another league, and I don't know if this is going to affect it. But if we get 3 overtimes in a row, I mean, we could have gotten like 3 overtimes in a row yesterday. I don't know what to say if we get it today. I don't think so. Nah, this isn't bode well.
Yeah, if the quality can continue like this, then overtime on every map is certainly possible. We've seen both teams really excelling when it comes to attack, so I'm interested to see how this is going to transfer over to Bank. But like I said earlier, we aren't here to talk about Bank just yet. We're here to talk about Coastline. And qvG are going to start out on attack. They started on defense in regulation, but as we get to overtime, they will start on attack. And like we saw, both teams won 60-70% of their attacking rounds, which means that theoretically, qvG do have the advantage here. But who knows? It might be that Machine Soldiers, having won those last 2 rounds, and have got the got the vibe, like you were saying about Ben and his team. They've got the vibe, they've got the adrenaline pumping, and they've just got that motivation, that enthusiasm to take this as either an 8-6 or an 8-7 before they go into bank their map. And if they do take the win here, that should serve them very well for the way they go into bank. It should give them a lot of confidence, and it should help them with that, as they know it's their map. Even if they don't win this map, to be fair, to take qvG this far on their own map, who have managed to dominate every other team they played here so well on this map throughout this season, Machine Soldiers have got to be looking at it and saying, yeah, okay, whatever happens, even if we've lost it, we did very well against qvG. That should do very well for us on bank. And then when we go to Oregon, which is a map that everybody knows, then it's going to be a very, very interesting story that we will see unfold.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bode well with qvG. Again, if they lose this map, I feel like in a sense that I don't know how to explain it, but okay, that's not what you want. I was gonna say qvG in theory have to win this map because we haven't seen them play Coastline, and it's mainly because every time they get the chance to ban it, if it's not auto ban, which it usually never is because nobody plays bank inside of Major League, but if another team doesn't ban it, then they're usually ban it. Circle, he gets the first pick, and he's also going to get traded off very quickly. Just as quickly as he gets the first pick, he's also the first pick for Machine Soldiers Academy, and that's 2 players pushing him at the same time on those cool vibe stairs. And now it's a 4v4 between both of these teams. 1:25 left to go, but like I said, qvG in theory have to win this map because if Machine Soldiers Academy can take them this far on Coastline, then I'm scared for qvG for what we might get on base.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting one. They do need to win this map. It could be that the whole series actually depends, for qvG at least, depends on them winning this map. If they don't win this map, then potentially see Machine Soldiers win it all. They see the diffuser dropped. It is known by Machine Soldiers. They know exactly where that diffuser is, and they just need to hold on to it and make sure it doesn't get picked up. So they want to keep an eye on that doorway. And yeah, Goody playing on Finker is going to be careful. Player with a shotgun playing up close, and we're going to need a very quick trigger finger from Goody to get that, but Toucan just comes off better, and this is looking very, very good for Machine Soldiers as they could take the early lead here in overtime. 4 versus 2, diffuser down, out in the wind. Its position is known, so this is going to be a very, very difficult one, and we are going to have to see qvG playing for frags here. They're not going to get the diffuser, they're not going to get the plant, they have to go for kills. So it's going to be all on Machine Soldiers to just hold back, be patient, as Den does drop to the hands of Kex. 2 versus 2. 1 versus 2 now. It's just Pat is the last one to get 2 kills to find, and he isn't going to find either of them, making Machine Soldiers win the first round of overtime. Fair play to Machine Soldiers. Good round.
There's a lot I could really say about that round
Don't say it.
in criticism of qvG, but it would take me a while to sort through all of the BS that happened in that round alone. Not in a bad way. I mean BS as in just what was going on in that round, because there was a lot. I mean, I felt like qvG just, if it wasn't, I don't know, maybe it's those 2 rounds that they lost when they were so close to like taking this map. They were 6-4 up, they lost 2 rounds, and it got into overtime, and maybe that's affecting them mentally. They're maybe not in a good a good vibe, like what we see MSA, and then
Defenders,
it
protect your
it,
bombs
it
from being
doesn't,
defused
when
by
your
attackers.
mental's in the mud, or when your mental's not it, I don't think their mental's in the mud, but I don't think they're in a good spot mentally compared to what we see from MSA, to sit here and say that. I don't know. If this continues, if they don't find a way to stop the bleeding, because this is now 3 rounds in a row that we see from MSA, then again, like I said, I'm scared to see if this ends up being an MSA win on Coastline, then I'm scared to see what we might get on Bank. At least for qvG, not so much for MSA, but what we might see from qvG, because we haven't seen them play Bank
5 seconds
not
remaining.
once this season. They've banned it every single time, and I said it in the
Attackers
pre-show,
are
but
moving out
like
to locate a
I was
bomb and
confused as to why they let it slip, because they usually almost always ban Bank.
I think I'm sure they've got something up their sleeve. I'm sure they've got something, but what it is, well, we're just gonna have to, 20 minutes or so to see what that is. But okay, As we get into the round, we can see Asma starting to make windows open, throwing in the drones to get that intel. We've got Discount making his way over towards VIP. Plenty of drone work going on here. And we've got... What site are we on here? We are on this Blue Bar and Sunrise, right? That's where we are, yes. Okay, so what we're going to be looking for here from the attack is to get control of the billiards room and also the aquarium. They're going to want to get some control there. So Just Pat is going to be very key to holding the... Although he is just going to run away and give up that position. Okay, so, all right. We're not going to get a big hold up there, but we do have a very extended over here in the kitchen. So it feels like we've got pretty much one player from qvG on every area of the map. Every key area of this map, there seems to be a qvG player. And they are just going to play this time-wasting game. We see Serguji get spotted by the drone and then just drops down and like, yeah, I'll give up that position. We've wasted enough time. Let's all turtle up and get back towards the site and team up with my friends. They've got holes all over the place. We see the Rooney holes there from service or bathroom, looking out into lobby. So we have a big setup here, just relying on being slightly off site and assuming Machine Soldiers manage to even get to the site, then they'll all just plan to collapse onto it for that post plant. An interesting setup from qvG. Whether that's going to pay off is another matter.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing exactly what she said, though. They're wasting a bunch of his time, and also they're getting picks. And that's Lucada, the sledge gone, so he can't make more of those holes. But, I mean, he's already done, I want to say like 75, maybe 50% of his job so far. So I feel like his death is not totally in vain, but that's still a big loss nonetheless. And there goes another pick from Just Pats. If that wasn't a big loss, then the Habana is most definitely a big loss, because you also have to, well, okay, no, you don't really have a lot to worry about on that. Wow, I thought this was, for some reason, I'm mistaken. But Discount is able to get a pick onto another player that was playing in service. And the LMG does go burst, so he's going to probably try and find himself another. Dan is actually going to slim this down to a 3v2 for his team. And it's just him and Discount in this situation. qvG have to calm down a little bit. They have to regroup themselves, and they have to just be wasting more of their time, because at this moment, there's 15 seconds left. Din is the only one alive. F2 grabbing that kill onto Discount, and there's no way he clutches the 1v3 situation as he's still outside, well, near spawn, and he's gonna try and go into mud, but not really. He just shoots up in the door and he's crouch spamming. There you go. There goes qvG. Now both of these teams are an overtime match point, so this can go either way. And we now see MSA on a defense and qvG on the attack. And so far, defense has been king in overtime. I wonder if that's going to change right now.
Overtime is where defense shines. So the last 4 rounds that we've seen played have been won by defense. Previous to that, we saw attack winning 6 times in a row. So if that trend is going to continue, defense should win this, which means it would be a Machine Soldiers game, but it's impossible to say at this point. We're going to Penthouse and Theatre. We saw Machine Soldiers, are they defending at the moment? They are. We saw them defend this site once and only once, and they managed to win it. So this could be very, very good for Machine Soldiers if qvG aren't able to predict exactly where they're going to go to. I think they would expect it to be Hookah and Billiards, because Kitchen and Service has already been played in overtime by Machine Soldiers, so they're possibly expecting Hookah and Billiards. But Penthouse and Theatre could be just what's needed here by Machine Soldiers to take this win. I don't know. It's anyone's game. I don't want to predict it, but based on what we've seen so far, I'd kind of call this a Machine Soldiers advantage. Not a dub, but an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, again, Vince has been king Clubhouse in this overtime. It wasn't like that at first for the regulation side of it, but this happens a lot actually on any map, where one side is like really good in regulation, and then it turns out to be like complete ass in overtime. And right now, attack has been like really weird for overtime for both of these teams, and defense has just been really powerful. But the aggression from Asma, he checks the cams outside and he's prepping himself for a run out. And if it's not him being aggressive, then it's Lucetta. But he's going to, okay, it's all three of them. All 3 of them have like these really far out peaks from windows in the actual building all the way out to sight. And I mean, if Clubhouse is one thing, it's noted for its aggression, not for the attack, not just for the attack, but also for the defense. It almost encourages
Bomb
it
located by
almost
attackers.
always encourages the defense to be very, very aggressive, but not too aggressive to the point where you lose your life. I'm talking about you, Luketa. He's quite literally down to 30 or 25 HP, and he could just very well be the first pick in this round. They don't have a Thunderbird, they don't have a Doc to revive him, and even if he does get down and picked up, he's on 25 HP, which is one shot basically. But it looks like most of the pressure from qvG is actually going to be coming on this north side as they look to attack. The site is actually where is the
Attackers
site?
have
Oh,
dropped the bomb
the site is penthouse. But that's 2 kills from the side of MSA. Another
Don't need
trade this
HP
time
when you can
Goody.
shoot.
Don't. I mean, there you go. That you know what? That AUG does a lot of work. A lot of people prefer the MP5K with the 1.5, but I agree with that. But the
Yeah.
AUG does do its job when
A
you
bomb
have
has
the
been
players
located.
playing it.
So I was just looking at my notes, and I talked about machine soldiers having won this site on defense. It's worth also talking about the fact, or noting the fact, that qvG chose to defend this site just the once as well. And interestingly, it was machine soldiers that won that. So this site's been played twice, and it's been won by machine soldiers both times. So clearly, machine soldiers do have a bit of an edge when it comes to penthouse. They seem very well versed in how to do this, whether it's on defense or attack. We're seeing that come into play now, as we are at a 4 versus 3. Laqueta is very low on health, damaged, low on health. With 1 HP, you can still ace the game and get the win. But Laqueta is as he gets his second kill whilst on just 20 HP. So Laqueta being an MVP in this round right now for Machine Soldiers, leaving them in a 4 versus 2. So Gucci has the diffuser. They have 40 seconds left to go. Goody is going to finally pick up Laqueta and a second one, leaving themselves in a 2 versus 2. Things are now very, very even with both teams having 2 players of full HP. Plant is going down and it's going to test. No, it's not! As discount comes in at the last moment with worst game manages to pick off Sir Gucci, leaving Goody all on his own with 2 and 20 seconds left to go. What's he going to be able to achieve here as he runs to the back of the site to try and get a cheeky plant off? Is he going to be successful, Wimby?
10 seconds left.
Well, I mean, look,
Tension
the corner,
this.
if they're wall banging him, he's gonna get some damage, but he does have 2 players. One behind him, there goes him. And he might get an ace! Oh, no way! He runs away at the nick of time, and it was a quad kill for Goody on the round, but he couldn't quite find the ace to end up closing that round out for his team. And there it goes. MSA is the one
What a round to end
to
on.
win. They won Coastline. What?
Yeah. GG to both teams, but especially to Machine Soldiers. What a final round for Machine Soldiers, and what a final round for Goody, getting the ace. If he'd have managed to win that, that would have been a tremendous achievement for qvG to finish that on an ace on the last round of overtime in map number 1 to take their map. Machine Soldiers really pushed qvG hard. I don't think qvG expected to be pushed that hard on their own map, and that should give Machine Soldiers boost as they go into map number 2 bank, which was their choice, and we haven't seen qvG play it yet. I'm sure they've got something up their sleeve, but what it is, I don't know. But Machine Soldiers picked this map, and pushing qvG so hard on their map choice, I don't know, this could be a 2-0 to Machine Soldiers if they.
Yeah, I'm just. You feel for qvG there, but they have to take it on the chin and move on to. Well,
Get past it.
Yeah, I almost said Coastline. I'm not gonna lie, but it's Bank. We're going on to Bank, and I said I was worried for them during the Coastline match. And I still am very worried. I mean, we don't know what they had. They could have something planned for Bank, but what it is, we don't know. And I haven't MSA have only played this map once, and if they are prepared for it more so than qvG are, I hope that the scoreline doesn't show that and it's not as skewed. Like maybe like I'm thinking like if it's when I mean skewed, I mean like 7-1 or 7-2 or 7-3, not like an overtime. Like I just don't want it to affect them mentally, but I'm pretty sure it's not because qvG aren't the ones to the type of team to get knocked down very easily, at least from what I've noticed. So
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I don't know what to expect on Bank. That was a very crazy Coastline match though.
Yeah, it's been a great one to watch, and I'm looking forward to Bank and seeing what comes out as we get there. Let's remind ourselves the community vote was 74% in favor of qvG, whereas Machine Soldiers have just managed to flip that estimation around, take map number 1, qvG's very own map, take it from underneath them in the dying seconds of the very last round. I've got to say, at the end of that round, I Discount probably came in clutch there with that UMP on Castle, just managing to deny that plant, and that was what essentially won the game. All the work before it obviously came towards it, or obviously played a part in that round being won by Machine Soldiers, but that play from Discount was the one that just clinched the deal for them, and then they just had to wait. So well done to them. As we get ready to go to bank, we are going to have a bit of a break to give these two teams a chance to get themselves a drink, get a little nibble, get themselves ready, get their fingers warmed up and ready for the next round or the next map, and let qvG have a little conversation about sure that they do not lose this one, because if they don't win bank, then that is it. They're out of Champions Series. And this has actually been a good turnaround for qvG, because we've seen them playing in Talent League for the last 3 seasons, or started out in different rosters. We've seen them for 3 seasons now, and in the last seasons that they played Champions Series, they got knocked out in the first round every time. So this is really good for qvG to have made it this far in Champions Series this season, and it'd be a shame for them to get knocked out at this point. But Machine Soldiers have done very, very well, and looking forward to seeing what they bring to bank.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I feel like this is qvG's, at least from what I read on them, because this is my first season in Talent League, at least for casting. But from what I read on them, this is probably their best chance at grabbing a title. Well, for this season alone, because they do have the Titan series to look forward to. They have been invited. They're playing in that, but this is probably their best chance at grabbing the title right now. But I don't know. I hope they can pull through on bank. What they have prepared, again, we don't know, but I'm hoping that it's something entertaining, not only entertaining but effective, for them to carry us to map 3, where that will be Oregon.
Oregon, the lovely
Cider,
Oregon.
but
We all love it. We all love it.
yeah, we won't see it though unless qvG pull through. But
Yeah.
yeah. We are gonna head into a break though. That's gonna be about like 10 or so minutes. Just stay tuned. Grab a drink, grab some popcorn, get some chips. Doritos are my favorite type of chips. And yeah, I will see you guys after that break.
Okay.
Synchronization. But the one thing about the site, if the attackers have the vertical control, they can make you pay, but that's typical to make Snizzy pay for just swapping over that. Oh my god, he does another kill. Typical, that's the fuser down. What the heck, Ayana? He's looking away. That's another kill for Typical. There's no way. I can't believe this. Gecko is in the 1v2. Garden, that's actually lethal. That could have been another for him, but it's really shot from Johnny. And now with 1v3, he could be a 1v3. Actually still down. He could grab this kill and land on a sliver of HP. His health bar is flashing red. Because, oh, there you go. And that's no wall.
Are you ready for this?
They take so when it looks like they're in the driver's seat, they take 3 steps back. And I mean, that's a step that you do not want to take. Hex is able to grab that kill from the team. Backs up on the battle.
15 seconds left to go now. And that's another nice kill from Hex. He's able to find his 3rd, but not quite the 4th. Mastery is now the only one that stands in the way. He's just going to have to try and run away. Swings around the corner, and Kex wins it somehow. 1 versus 3. That is not a situation that should be happening at all.
What makes you think of Skylight? And it's going to be looking like Makeaway's going to sit with hell angles in there. Oh, Matrix! What a shot! Maybe 2. Oh, Matrix! What the hell? Matrix, are you insane?
And that's definitely not Mark. And that's actually the Mika down. So no more temporary crafting tech. Wow, you gotta be kidding.
God,
Maybe
no
Shark.
way.
They have the Ace, they have the Ayana, they have the still has the fragger game.
Oh
Never
my.
mind. Man, stop.
Baby Shark again, just really getting up in the faces. There's the quad. Nice little tap fire there. DJ Kiosk now on the ace. And there's Baby Shark with the ace. Flawless round from Loud as just Eagle Empire folded.
Welcome back to MSA versus qvG, or Machine Social Academy versus qvG Esports. And now we are heading into our second map. If I can just check the lobby to see if all the players are in here and if everybody's ready. We will get right to that. But for a quick recap on Coastline, MSA, they win 8-7. A little bit probably surprising for those who voted in the poll, but as we both predicted to, it was it was. I mean, that's not unexpected from both of these teams. That it was. I expected it to be a little bit closer than
Hmm.
what everybody else expected it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, you did say you were expecting a close one, and it doesn't really get much closer than maximum overtime. A great effort from both teams. My understanding is that that's pretty much qvG's strongest map. So for Machine Soldiers to, I mean, it wasn't a dominating win, like we say, it was close, very close, but it was closer than it should have been. From my understanding, from what I've seen and what I've looked at, qvG have won every other game on Coastline. So for Machine Soldiers to push them quite so far in a semi-final, like I said during the round or during the game itself, even if Machine Soldiers hadn't have won that, it should still give them a huge confidence boost going to map number 2, which is their map pick of Bank. Now we haven't seen qvG play it; we don't know what they're going to bring out. So it could be that qvG have show us, and this could be a close one. But based on what we saw in the last map, I kind of put my money against Machine Soldiers having the advantage here as we go to Bank. But we'll find out very soon if that is going to be the case. Whatever happens, it's Going to be a very interesting matchup, that's for sure. I've very rarely casted Bank, so I'm looking forward to stumbling my way through all of the call outs, not having a clue what's going on. I'll do what I can, trusting you be that you know exactly Bank and that you will lead me in the right direction.
Oh man, I mean, it's been a while since I played Siege. As much as I cast this game, it's the first game I've ever casted inside of the casting scene. You know I don't really play it as much as I used to. I'm obsessed with other games. I could discuss them on stream, but I feel like I get judged harshly. But I mean, Bank is I do know a little bit about it. I've seen the rework. I played a little bit of it. I wouldn't call it a rework. It's just been like a little rehash of both the basement and also the first floor of Bank. The elevator, especially for basement, has been
Mm,
remade a little bit. It's a lot bigger. It's a bigger space instead of that
yeah,
one little like box area that you had before. There's also a hatch. The hatches have been moved in the lobby area for the basement site at least, and it looks like as I do switch the topic a little bit, it doesn't look like they're quite ready yet. But there's just, I mean, there's a lot of hatch play on Bank because especially for basement at least because there's not like a lot of vertical play because again the floors between the first floor and also basement are hard. They're not destructible whatsoever. So it's going to make picks like a Maverick, like a Habana even more important on a map like this because you have to get your hard breaches to open a hatch. If not a Habana or a Maverick, then most definitely an ace. We might even see a thermite. We don't usually see a thermite inside of comp play because of how important Ace, Habana, and Maverick have become in the meta. But both teams
yeah.
are ready. So we're gonna hit straight into Bank.
Hey, and to Bank we go. So, like you say, yeah, hatch play can be very important on this one for anything other than the top floor. So, yeah, those operators are going to become very important. And also at the same time, play is important. That means Kaid is a very important operator on this map. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets banned. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Habana ban just to make things a little bit more tricky for the hatches. You've still got Maverick, you've still got Ace, but Habana I think is probably still the go-to favorite, especially when Kaid tricking is a thing. But if he's banned, it doesn't matter. Thatcher's going to get taken out of play. He was actually allowed to play on coastline, which was very, very interesting. Normally, you don't see Thatcher come into play. But here he is going to be banned, nothing unusual. So the big question is it going to be hard breach utility that's taken out for the second attack? We will know in just about 3 seconds, and then we'll get on to defensive bans.
Oh,
Interesting.
that is interesting. I'm a
That's
little
not the
bit.
first time we've seen Zero banned by machine soldiers. I believe they banned him on other maps.
Yeah, I think it makes sense on a map like Bank. Now that's a little bit. That's a more. It's more on meta with how powerful Kaid has become inside of Siege lately, especially him just overtaking Bandit in terms of like the tricking department, and also the Valkyrie does come out. Bank again, huge map, very a lot of It encourages a lot of roaming, and Valkyrie makes that roam game very powerful. But the zero ban, I want to say that makes a lot of sense. He ever since that patch came out where certain operators get 2 hard breaches instead of the one, it's made zero so much more powerful, not only in terms of like just a solo player, but if you implement him into a team environment correctly, he can really change the whole round for your team, and also does come out from Machine Socials Academy, and I
Mm.
love this. I kind of like it. I don't want this to be a 6 pick. I don't want this to be a bait. It
I don't
might
think
just
it's
be
going
a
to
bait.
be. I think it's getting stuck. It's definitely getting stuck. We've got Echo being brought out instead of Whammy, which makes perfect sense. Often you'll see him playing in the elevator shaft, just up on Cantor Raketti or top of the spiral stairs, whatever you call it. Affectionately called Cantor Raketti because he
Defenders,
popularized,
protect your
or
bombs from
popularized rather,
lead
playing there as Doc back in the old G2 days. When Bank used to be in the pool, but we would expect to see Echo probably playing some role, maybe a shield and an ADS, or see an ADS in there protecting him. But that's likely what we'll see from Echo, and he'll be playing primary plant denial. with Smoke also being there upstairs somewhere, just waiting to chuck gas grenades to stop that plant from going down. CEO is a very common starting site. Back in the old days, the basement,
10
CCTV,
seconds to go.
and vault, or lockers rather, used to be the primary site for people to defend, but since I almost called it a rework, but I know you don't like that, Wimpy. Since the quality of life changes, it's become much more popular to start on the top floor, and this is exactly what we're seeing coming out from qvG here. Now, we said we don't know what we haven't seen them playing here before. It looks like they are ready for it. They've setups in mind clearly that aren't default ranked strats. So I'm interested to see how this one's going to play out. We have the Buck in play. We have Hibana in play. Very good choices. Buck, of course, has secondary heart breach. Wow. That was a yokai drone, right?
That was a yokai drone, yeah.
Wow. That intel, whatever. That was well done to Asthma for taking that out of play. That's really going to make things difficult for qvG. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Asthma's going to do on Osa. When you've got C4s in play from the defensive team, it's a little bit tougher, but there's only one C4 coming out from the defense. So this could be very, very good for Machine Soldiers.
And it's made even better. From the start of this round is actually going to the also Asthma grabbing the first pick, and it leaves MSA in a man advantage so far. And I think, yeah, I don't even know where the one man was playing, but like you said, the mute isn't even playing below. And the one thing about this site that you do have to take into account is, this is the same site that's just above not open area, but I want to the other site that's below this, Teller's archives. And this site has a lot of vertical play to it, so the Buck is going to be made even more powerful if they figure out, hey, look, there's nobody below, there's nobody on this first floor, we can take control of this, we can make these vertical angles below. And like I said on Coastline so many times, make these defenders panic and shift them out of position to the point where they panic. But qvG fight back. 2 kills of their own, one from Tex and another from just Pat. But here goes
Easy
the
kills.
play from Den, and it's an easy kill. As he sneaks up main stairs and he grabs another one. I don't think that was a nice shot, not less just on just Pat's. And just as easily as the man advantage was for qvG, it's now taken swiftly back by MSA, as Den still persists on this main stairs push.
Yeah, Tukun's kind of miles away from getting to the objective. He's running his way in there. He has managed to make his way into ATMs, and we are going to see these two attackers stacking up here in lobby. Diffuser has been dropped at the top of the main stairs, and it is going to be tricky with 25 seconds left to get that pickup. And it could be that we see a frag game coming out here. We have one finger left, which is going to get used right now with those 15 seconds left on the clock. The last 3 attackers are going to move in. One's going to get down by Goody, and he's going to take another as Kex takes one of his own, and that is that for round number 1. We had Machine Soldiers being left in a very tricky position, having quick play, and in a 3 versus 2, they didn't have the time to be sensible, didn't have the time to gather the intel, and they had to face check everything. But Goody was just too good, and he managed to get those kills along with his teammate, putting round number 1 firmly on the board for qvG. That is what we saw in Coastline, qvG taking round number 1, so still a long way to go. But that was a good one from qvG.
That was a good one from qvG, and Machine Soldiers just taking MSA just taking a little bit too long to make their execute. They had the man advantage early on. They had all the map control that they could dream of. There was nobody roaming on that first floor. You have your Buck in play, and it's curious enough to me that the Buck didn't really start doing a lot of vertical play until later, really later on, when in that time you really need to make an execute onto site. At that point, he's not really useful anymore. You need to worry, again, like I said, you need to worry about making your execute onto site. But we do see the shift from the second floor going all the way down to the basement. And we see the castle in play as well as the visual. So a lot of aggressive play. Not a lot of aggressive play, but the visual is as aggressive as it can get for a defensive.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Defensive operator on this map. The potential that he has as a roamer, potential that he does exhibit as a roamer is, well, 0 to none compared to other roamers on this map.
I like that setup there that came out from Echo. Put that shield down, open the hatch, ready for the... Oh, okay, it wasn't actually the setup. Okay, it wants to move it slightly. I guess it was an accident falling through the hatch. I thought that was like a deliberate... No, I think it was actually a mistake. But still, it's an interesting to have him right there with that. Sit there, he can use his Yokai drones to try and stop that plant from going down. At the last moment, he doesn't have to try to make his way down one of, was it 3 staircases? Sorry, 2 staircases to get back downstairs to site in a pinch if he needs to. Drop that hatch, and he's already there, right next to the sites. So very nice setup coming out there from Echo being played by Sir Guji. Let's see what he can make happen here. As we can see the drones moving their way around the... Just Pat is going to get that first kill, and that is Asthma taken forward, and that is an important utility for the attack lost. That's some grenades, that's infinite drones. That is very, very unfortunate for Machine Soldiers. They are going to answer back, though, taking out Vigil. So that is a big portion of the roam game taken out of commission, and that's going to mean that the defense, or sorry, the attackers can move their way towards site a lot quicker. But they've got a lot of ground to make up. They're just on the top floor. They've still got to clear the first floor and then get down to that basement as Luquetta is going to drop to Goody. Goody doing great work here on Bank as he picks up his kill. That's a 3 KD for him, putting his team in a 4 versus 3, 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go on the clock.
Yeah, this is looking good for Machines Academy. I mean, they have discount. Well, they might not have no more. Kex is actually going to get into a gunfight. There's 3 players, well, 2 in the same area, 1 player on top of the second floor, and they're getting shot from God knows where. They don't even know where they're getting shot from. They have a player in open area. There goes your player in elevator that just got shut down by Tukin. And I mean, at that point, I felt like the Echo kind of overplayed that. He could have just dropped down. And now Goody is going to be looking for this hatch drop, if anything else. But MSA, they got 40 seconds left to go. Now 35 seconds left to go as they need to make their execute onto site right now. And they're just gaining control of this, of this open area. And I mean, to be honest, they don't really completely have it. You have Kex. And, well, yeah, you only have Kex in this area. And if he has anything to say about it, which he will, he does have control of those hatches. And, okay, Tukin is actually going to grab the kill. That's a double for him on the round. That's a misplay, or, well, misfire on the side of F2. And, well, now with misplay, as Discount is going to choke on some gas. And it now leaves Kex in the 1v2 situation. The plant has gone down. He's got that plant covered. And Den and Tukin now have a chance to reorganize themselves, replace themselves in really critical plant positions. But it looks like Tukin, or is that Den? That's actually Tukin right on top of the bun, and he just gave his spot away. He could have gotten the kill there. He thought he downed him, did Kex, but he's actually going to be down himself, and he's going to be out as the round goes in favor of MSA. I think I said it before, but I felt like Sir Googie, I think that was the Echo, could have possibly, that round, it wasn't on him. I'm not gonna blame that on him, but I just felt like in that situation he could have most definitely back off of that. I get the reason why he did it. You don't want to give complete map control to the attackers, but at some point you just gotta learn when to give it up and leave it to your lone player that's roaming by himself up there. And I mean, he was kind of in a box. Realistically, there was nowhere he could have gone apart from just dropping down an elevator itself. I don't know. I felt like he kind of overplayed it a little bit.
It was an interesting round, that's for sure. We had, like, there was a moment where there was just non-stop action. It was just gunfire everywhere, and like I think there was a minute and a half left to go, and there was just so much going on. And then all of a sudden, bodies dropped, and there was just a sudden lull where it was a 3 versus 3, and it was a really peaceful moment as both teams seemed to start to try to gather themselves together. The defensive guys, they positioned themselves back on site, really trying to hold down the lockers area. And then we saw the attackers just come down, and it was opened up by, I think it was Tukin that had come down through the hatch area and managed to get that pick and gave Machine Soldiers complete control pretty much of the vault side of the site, allowing them to get in, get that plant, and just managed to hold on to it really nicely with the pre-fires coming out from Kex, I think he was at the end, trying to pick off any players that were in the vault area, but he didn't manage to. The plant went down. And once it was down, that was pretty much it. It was a Machine Soldiers win. The writing was on the wall. Den gave his position away, like you said, shooting. I think it was Den. Was it Den? It was Den, wasn't it? Shot his way through the wall at the end as Kex was trying to do the retake.
It was, I think it was the. I saw the hood. I think it was the Habana.
Oh, was it Habana? It was Toucan, was it? Okay, so Toucan gave his position away and almost lost his life. But, fortunately, Kex couldn't manage to finish off that kill. Did do some damage, but didn't manage to finish it off, allowing Machine Soldiers to take the win. So, an interesting round there. It could have gone either way, but Machine Soldiers were very, very dominant towards the end, and I kind of expect that from this team. They seem to like the fraggy. Asma's a bit more of a strategy player. Den likes his strats. I'm sure they all do, but Asma's more like the level-headed one that will keep Den under control, I would say. He's not really a swinger, whereas Den is, and I think Den is probably quite happy for the rest of his team to play in that way. But I would expect that kind of aggressive push at the end to come out from Machine Soldiers, and they did it very, very well. Machine Soldiers is another team, along with qvG, that have been invited to our Titan series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do there.
Yeah, I mean, I said this on Coastline. I keep saying that, like I say this on this, and I said this before, but I felt like on I said it here before, but like I felt like in the Champion Series, this is their best chance at a title. The Titan series is going to be interesting to watch, but I really would love to see them take it all the way here in the Champion Series. And it looks like we got Sargugi back, so we get to see the beautiful pick face once again. The Monty 6 picked onto the Jackal, the Mute 6 picked onto the Vigil. And I mean, what would you like to see? What different compared to, I can't get my words right, but compared to last round, what would you like to see qvG do differently on this round alone, because they're going back to that same site, lockers and CCTV?
As much as I liked the Echo setup in the elevator, ultimately it didn't really work out for them. It looked like it could do, but once Echo got pinched and lost his life, it just left an easy drop for Toucan to get in and take real control of that vault side. So I'd like to see them maybe apply their focus to a slightly different area of the site. I don't know if that was just a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if it was like a reaction thing to take lockers because of what had opened up, or if it was actually their chosen site to attack. And when I say they, I mean Machine Soldiers. Or, or if normally they would go for the other side, being CCTV, the more common place to go. Which I think has kind of fallen out of favor in the new meta. It used to be, you bring along Thermite, you open up by the desk, go in, try and plant bait out the utility. That doesn't really happen quite so much anymore. So maybe the choice of Machine Soldiers is to go for those hatches and just drop into Vault and try to take it that way. Let's see as we go into this round. I didn't really see what was done differently by Echo, if anything at all, but we'll see how this one's going to play out, and if Machine Soldiers are going to attack. We are getting the same sort of, but no shield has been deployed yet. Thank you very much to our excellent observer trip, helping us with those bird's eye views and seeing what's really being set up on the map. Pat gets that first kill onto Den, and that is a good kill. That's a lot of very good utility taken out by, and also a lot of fragging potential, with Den being pretty much the top fragger on his team right now, as Pat gets his second, and Vigil doing exactly what he's supposed to do, which is waste time and collect bodies in the and collect bodies at the same time if he can do. I have no idea what's going on.
He's panicking, but he's still getting kills. That's a triple in a round for this Pat, and he's probably gonna get a couple quad, but it's going to be shut down. Kex with the quick trade, and Toucan is quite literally in Narnia. He's outside with the Diffuser, and he's the only one alive. In this situation, there's not a lot you can do. I can totally get it. Your whole team got wiped out by one single person, and he's just gonna stay on the roof. to contemplate his life. I mean, that's what I would do. Live in a 1vx and ranked at least. I would just sit here and think about how to either get
Think
a
about your
couple
life
kills.
choices. Yeah.
Think about my life choices, why I choose to play ranked that day, and then also, how can I get a couple of kills and say, hey, look, I got my frags. I'm not mad.
Well, this can be used as an informal tactical timeout, of course, by machine soldiers. This is their map. They've got 1 minute 15. They can just sit here and just talk about what they're going to do differently, go into it. They know they're not going to be able to attack lockers and CCTV again until round number 6. They're only going to have a go at this one more time. So they're just going to sit here and talk about how they're going to attack CEO, which was won in round number 1 by qvG. So machine soldiers will be able to have a conversation about what they're going to be able to do. We saw, I mean, that was an incredible hold being done by Vigil. You called it himself. He got panicked. But you have drones everywhere. You have guns firing at you from all angles, and he did a tremendous job. He almost got that fourth kill rather with the SMG-12, but didn't manage to get the kill. It was picked up by Kex. It was a great attempt from him, and I think Just Pat in this round has certainly earned a bonus from his org
15 seconds
when it
left.
comes to the pay at the end of the month.
Yeah, I mean, that
10
was
seconds
probably
left.
the most panicked, composed play I've seen ever.
5 seconds
Like, he
remaining.
was panicking, but he still was able to shoot straight. If I'm, the thing about me is I get jump scared a
Operators,
lot,
you are out of
especially in
time.
Siege when somebody just jumps out of nowhere. I'll like scream and then I'll potato, or I'll like flick onto like not even a head, but like a computer or something that's on a desk and like the map. But he kept his composure. That was like the most panicked but composed piece of play that I've seen from somebody ever. He was able to shoot straight. He got 3. No, it was 4 kills, wasn't it? No, it was 3. It was 3
I think he
kills.
just got the 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
he
fourth
could've
was
gotten-
taken away. Yeah.
Yeah, he got the 3. He was traded out, and Kex quickly traded him out, and that left Toucan in 1v4. He couldn't really do anything else, and he just wasted the time, saved the KD, and I mean, there was nothing much you can do. Like you said, it was an informal tech timeout. And now we're going to Teller's office, or people call it Teller's archives, because people don't really say the office part, but they say Teller's archives because it's shorter. And instead of the Oryx that we saw from F2, he's going to go to the Echo. And I don't really think that was a bait. Maybe it was a misclick, because I don't really see Oryx be, well, actually, no, I lied.
Attackers
Because
need to
Oryx is
locate
actually
and defuse
very,
bombs.
very, I feel like he's very, very decent on a map like Bank if you play him right, because I said it before, there's a lot of hatch play to be played, and the attackers, especially with certain hard breachers in play, can have like a run of the map if they get it, if the defenders allow them. But also, there's a lot of patches that can be played by the defenders itself, especially if Oryx is in play. And it's curious that they picked the Echo over the Oryx. They must. I don't really. I get it, because
10 seconds
Echo's
to go.
pretty powerful on Bank, but I think also Oryx is really, really good on Bank
5
too.
seconds remaining.
It's really peculiar. Is that the?
Peculiar. That's good. Yeah. I can go with that. I think Bank is an absolutely huge map. I'm not sure it's the largest. I think Villa's probably up there with size. It's an absolutely huge map. It can take a long time to clear out. And this is the kind of place where you can expect an operator like Oryx to really thrive. And also Vigil, saw in the previous round, because there's just so much room, so many opportunities for opening up rotates, hatches, and being able to traverse the map very, very quickly. And with someone like Oryx, once you get over to the other side of the map, you can just easily just jump up through a hatch and get a nice easy flank onto anyone that's without them really expecting it. So the attackers have to really be careful every possible angle as they take control of this map from the top to the bottom. It's something that there's just not enough utility really to be able to lock down every possible flank position. You can only try your best, but I'd say it's impossible to lock down every single one. So let's see what... This is a bold play from Asmuk. I've never come down through here, but I've seen it a lot lately.
Yeah, I've actually seen. Okay. Oh my god!
He made it work, but he got treated so quickly.
He he got fucked up, man. You know, there's a movie called Friday. It's an American thing, and there's like
Fucking
a
Ice
scene
Cube,
in
yeah?
there. Yeah, there's a scene in there where they like say, oh, "Boy, you got fucked up." But anyways, there goes a couple of kills. There's a 3v3 between both of these teams, and at this moment, it's just a lot going on. I mean, there wasn't really a lot going on first minute, but in the last 30 or 40 seconds, there's just been a lot going on. Lukeda making this a
Bomb
3v2
located
for
by
his team,
attackers.
taking out this patch, and Goody is actually down to 30 HP. I don't really know exactly what the number is for his HP, but it is flashing red, so that means
That's
he's,
about 15, I'd say. 15
yeah,
to
so he's quite literally like one hit. And
Yeah.
against the LMGs, assault rifles of MSA, he's not gonna have a chance in these gunfights if he takes head on, and he might just come head on with Lukeda. If Lukeda's not careful, but he comes into contact with the
Timing.
LMG, and there goes the 1v3 situation from Tech. He's going to rotate up square stairs, but he's not going to find anyone quite yet. He's probably going to find a buck. He does see somebody on banana, but alas, he's not going to react quick enough. Should be able to shoot them. I mean, that's the type of shot that like Breed A makes on an SMG-11 on the regular. That's not something that you would see in T4.
Oh, here's
But
that
what you
plant.
just see
He's
in
denial.
the plant.
Oh no!
Oh my god, he
15
just missed
seconds
the
to go.
shot from above, and he
With
has
the
50
shotgun, he could have had
seconds.
it.
He could have, but again, here goes the plant, and they're gonna keep planting with this player just above. They're gonna get off, they're gonna get on. He could grab the planter, and he does, but it's the save from discount. Oh my god, that was a clean shot. Okay, I thought it was like just a lucky little floor bang. I mean, technically it was. He still killed him through the floor, but Jesus, I mean that round in the hands of Machine Social Academy and qvG have put up an impressive bank performance, but that round was well, it wasn't really that dominant from MSA. I felt like there was just there was a lot of
Yeah.
trades, and ultimately the trades just went into favor for MSA. They just were better in the trade department, whereas qvG weren't, simply put.
Yeah, it was a good flank up the stairs there, and it's what I talked about on this map. I mean, literally in that round about not being able to watch every possible flank. We had Buck upstairs doing damage. He did what he felt he needed to do, and then moved downstairs. And they had no idea that the last player had moved upstairs, and that allowed him to be able to just use all of the holes created by Buck to his advantage to be able to deny the plant. So the holes that the attackers used
Attackers need
to benefit
locate
them
and defuse bombs.
theoretically should have gone against them. And if he'd have hit his shots on that planter just down below that first time he saw him, if he'd had the gun out instead of the SMG-11, I feel just taken an extra half a second, then that potentially would have been a round-winning position for qvG. But instead, he whiffed the shots, gave away his position. All the attackers needed to do was move to another area, just get that plant down, and just keep trying to stick it. They had the man count to do it. It was a risky play from qvG. It almost paid off, but eventually they managed to give away that round to Machine Soldiers. And just like at the end of round number 4 on Coastline, we see ourselves at a 2-2 with round number 5 just getting underway. We go back upstairs to CEO and office, a site that we have seen played once already by this team. They managed to win it the first time here. It's just become unlocked, so they're going to go back to it, and they're going to be hoping to take another win and go ahead 3-2, and hopefully do a little bit better at the end of the first half than they managed to do Coastline.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, I mean, oh wow. I was gonna sit here and say that qvG are playing a lot better unbanked than I would have expected. I didn't expect them to get steamrolled, but I did expect to see some sloppy plays, and it seems a little bit more solid here than what we saw on Coastline, which I wasn't really expecting. But there goes the first pick, and it comes to Kex. Kex didn't really have that bad of a map on Coastline, but he is starting this map off strong, going 5-2. And he got a spawn pick with Jaeger, so there you go. But Lukeda's just gonna run into where he's probably gonna get the first pick for his team, and he does. There goes the Echo Drone disrupted, and there goes the swing with the shotgun, and then the kill from Sergugi, and there goes the an advantage. It might be a 5v3, but 2 can make this a 3v3, grabbing Sergugi. And now I thought that was the Echo. No, Sergugi has no. Okay, an Echo for the last 3 rounds. But that is the one my gone. So those were my discs. Those rechargeable. My discs are no longer. And what the hell? Asma's doing this play yet again, and he might just get a kill from it if they're not too careful. And he does. They don't hear the rappel sound. F2 needs to get his audio checked because I could have heard that repel sound from that distance, but he doesn't. And there goes the kill, and now the man advantage for MSA. Goody is in janitor, whereas the last player or the other player, just Pat, is in CEO, and he has a player on his windows, and he's going to be fighting with Den. That's the player that he's fighting with, and it's only about like a minute and 10 left to go. But MSA, they have this man advantage. They have the user in hand. All they need to do really is take care of the echo, possibly catch the rotate coming in from Goody, and they're all good. But okay, that's Pat. There you go.
I see what you did there. All right, so Tukin is going to clear those last 2 kills and put another one on the board for MSA. A good round. Oh, nicely done. Good round for them there. Asthma getting away. We saw a couple of very, very good plays coming out from Machine Soldiers. We saw Laqueta picking up that info. I think it was on Jaeger playing in CEO. Saw him, Crunch walking around by the windows. Took the opportunity to just, hey, run up to those big holes and let's just shoot him. Managed to get that beautiful pick. He then, unfortunately for him, got pinched by the player in Janitor, and there was someone else. I didn't see where the other player. He tried to get away. I think it was the player that was in the executive office, managed to shoot him through that same hole that he got his kill. So that was the first good play coming out from Laqueta, opening that up for the team. And then the play from Asthma, like you said, rappelling down through the roof, the same as he did in the previous round that we saw from him. And he managed to get a kill from it onto a player that was just sitting back to it. And to be fair, you don't really expect that kind of thing, but you've got to keep your ears open for that kind of behavior. So yeah, a good one there for Machine Soldier, who had a very good start. It started to look a little bit dicey when bodies ping at the end, when Den fell from the window. That's a position where he shouldn't really build. But yeah, Machine Soldiers managed to take it, and they go 3-2 up and get into the round of the first half. The question is, will we split just like we did on Coastline, or are we going to get the 3-3? We will know the answer in 3 minutes and 15 seconds at the most.
10 seconds to insertion.
Oh wait, that's. Oh yeah, no, that's accurate. No, you know what? I don't know exactly how long these. But comp play gets like
Attacker's
3.
objective is to locate
Comp
a bomb
and
and
ranked
defuse
actually
it.
get 3 minutes
Yeah.
total. But I didn't know that's like how long. You know what? I don't count. I don't do math. This is why, like, well, I actually didn't
Bomb
fail
located
business
by
school, but I
attacker.
most definitely did not do well in accounting. I had to retake that course a lot.
Attackers dropped
Because
the
I sucked
diffuser.
in, at least in accounting too, because there's a lot of math involved. But what I can count is the amount of well, now there's 4 players alive. That's as high as I can count for the Machine Soldier Academy. As they try and rush themselves into servers, they're going to fire back, and Denster is able to get some picks. He's inside of Garage, but he's going to be shut down by Goody, who's playing in red, I believe. And now it's a 3v4. Now 3v3 is discount with that LMG. We are indeed in the LMG meta. Any operator that has the LMG, a player will most definitely use it because, again, they nerf almost all the assault rifles. So people just turn to the LMGs.
Attackers recovered the
Kex
diffuser.
has to hear this. Here we go. We can see Laqueta making his way. Kex doesn't hear it. Oh, but Laqueta comes off. Laqueta doing very, very well last couple of rounds for his team. Picking up those kills, 3 versus 2. We saw Machine Soldiers throwing a lot of bodies and losing more bodies than they probably wanted. But they've done plenty of damage to the defensive team here. We've got F2 playing upstairs, trying to cover that hatch, which is being watched by Laqueta. As Laqueta makes himself a little exit there. And he comes around and gets the flank onto F2. Sir Gucci is the last man standing. F2 can leave himself in a 1 versus 1. It's Sir Gucci versus Laqueta. 1 minute 20 seconds to go. And Laqueta still has 1 breaching charge and 2 drones, but not very much health as Sir Gucci manages bit of damage. Diffuser is not in the hands of. That is back in the sight, but Sir Gucci is going to get that beautiful shot onto Laqueta as he makes his way into lockers. What a round for Sir Gucci. Clutch master on that one. Well played.
Impressive, very impressive.
That shouldn't have happened.
No, that shouldn't have happened. But I do have to ask a few questions from that was. I think that was Goody, who was in that open area spot. I don't know what he was really looking at. If I could, I know that they had like a little rotate. The Buck made a rotate between kitchen and the office area. but he has to keep in mind that there's also an open doorway to his left where he's even more
Yeah.
exposed. I don't know. I don't know what he was looking at. I could see what I could understand, but I don't think that should have that's what he should have been looking
It,
at.
it was
But
a good bait from Laquetta. I guess the thought was
yeah,
let's open up the wall. He's going to think I've gone through around there, but
Attackers need to locate
I
and
assume that's what
defuse as many
happened.
bombs as they can.
It's just one of those plays at the time. I guess you don't really think that's what the attacker is doing, and it worked out very well for Laquetta. Fair play to him. Fair play.
but even better clutch though. I love that clutch from Gucci. He hit some really nasty shots, particularly on the Habana. That was or no, not the Habana, but I think it was actually the Finca of discount that was just behind the bomb chastity. He had like she was behind like a really tight area and only like
10
a
seconds
pixel
left.
of her head was showing and he was just able to pop it. I mean, that's the thing with Echo's
5 seconds
MP5. Yeah, I think it's the MP5K, but it's naturally
Attackers'
silenced and
objective is to locate a bomb and
low
defuse it.
recoil 1.5 and it's just easy to hit those type of shots with this it's satisfying when you get those shots off, and he showed it there. But we do see MSA on the defensive half, and the one thing that I see that's a lot different from qvG's lineup is they not only brought the castle on this second
Attackers have
floor
located a
site, but
bomb.
they also brought the pulse, and this is a very interesting pick because I feel like pulse. You know, we talk about powerful operators on certain maps. Nobody talks enough about pulse on bank. I feel like.
Pulse is very good for playing down below C. Is that the site that we're on? We are on CEO. I didn't should note
Yeah.
that down at the time. We are there. So Pulse obviously likely to be playing downstairs in the archives area because he can watch those windows, and he can plant deny and can take down anyone that repels in and goes into the site. So very sensible to have a Pulse and have him play there. But it is very predictable as well. So we need to see not machine soldiers. We need to see qvG actually focus their attention to getting that Pulse out of position or out of play, because that will be a real thorn in their side when they come to the attack. I'm not sure if he is actually there. There's Asthma. One bit of. Where is Den playing on the Pulse though? We can't see him, but we see most of them are. Oh, there he is. He's just down below. Yeah, we just saw him in the red line. So he's playing that position. Oh,
No way! No way!
Who did? He had the perfect flank onto two of them, but he whiffed all of his shots. Whiffed it. But what he has done, although he hasn't killed anyone, what he has managed to achieve is he's managed to make qvG at least think a little bit more carefully about what they're doing down here. And flanks, we can see so much attention being paid there. Player down at the bottom of the staircase, just watching for Den, who's already made it away back up to the top floor. So although Den didn't get any kills, he's managed to do something good for his team. So let's let him have that one at least.
Yeah, I mean, he's rotated himself all the way up to square stairs, and he does have an angle, a long angle from square all the way to banana. But then Cat is able to grab that kill onto whomever that was. Then, again, from this long angle in square, has that angle into banana, and he went to kill for himself, but answered back blow. Okay, now Discount got himself a kill, so 2 kills coming out from SA, and it's now a 2v2 between both of these teams. Discount is on a little bit of low HP, while qvG, both of their players are on 100 each, and he's gonna be made even worse because he's gonna be wall banged. Nobody likes to be wall banged, but also you don't want to be tracked through the walls. And there you go. There's another kill. How is Den getting away with this? They know where he's at. You killed you from this.
They can't. Oh no!
They killed him. He's killed like almost all of them.
3 people from that position, I think.
3 people from this. 3 or 4 people from that same place. Well, yeah, 3. I think that's more accurate because they would have said quite. Actually, you know what? I don't pay attention to the eye up there anymore because it's fooled me so many times. But
Yeah.
he's gotten at least 3 or 4 kills from that same position from square, and they still allowed themselves to be fooled by them. Yes, you don't get to see the kill cam, but what you do see after that is you see where the player is positioned. You don't see the kill cam. So what the kill cam can tell you is that, hey, look, look, there's the player that you got killed from is like right there.
Yeah.
How is it that 2 players got killed right there, and then you still find your third player wandering into that same position, and he's looking the wrong way? I don't know. I don't like
Attackers need
that.
to locate and
But
defuse as many bombs as they can.
Den redeemed himself massively in that round.
Yeah.
There was I mean, it was almost like watching playing when he opened fire onto those 2 or 3 players on the staircase. Unfortunate of him, but he managed to get himself actually very position because he had holes in the wall that he could look through. But he had a reinforced wall right next to him. There was no way for the attackers to realistically
10
rotate
seconds to go.
out of the site with enough time to be able to come around to get him. They had to try to play through to the
seconds
site
remaining.
or one of those sites with that diffuser. That was the most sensible. But with Den having that reinforced wall that he could stay behind, bring up his heart jammer or his heart sensor, he'd know exactly where they were, be able to, be able to get that fix on them and be able to deny what was going on. So he was in a powerful position. I would like to have seen more pre-fires possibly coming out from qvG as they moved into the knowing that someone was there killing people, 3 times in a row. They should have been a bit more on it, but he had a very powerful position, used it to great effect. Good round for Machine Soldiers as they do take the lead, 4-3 up. And we now go into round number 8.
What?
Ooh.
What is he? No, I'm sorry, but I mean, that's a little bit funny. He kind of stared at him. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hi," and just doesn't shoot back.
Is
But
that
I
a
mean,
guy?
I
Is
get
that
it.
is that a guy? I don't know.
Yeah, it's all right though. It's an even man count. So while he is the first pick, he is quickly traded out, and he does get the trade quickly in his team's favor, and it's a 4v4 between both teams. 2 minutes left to go, but I mean, qvG have a bunch of time to make an execute onto site. But what they have to do is isolate this player that's playing in Tellers. They're going to do just that. They have 2 players from above. Well, they're not. They're just clearing the roamers first
Well, she's
before
got
they
3 up
isolate
there
the
still.
player. They still do got almost all of them apart from the 1 player that's in open area, and that's their sledge. And actually, they have a 2nd player in elevators and a 3rd player on main stairs through Machine Soldiers Academy. I mean, they're just keeping this aggression up, and they also have a player on the top
Attackers have dropped the
of
bomb
blue.
diffuser.
And there goes the kill from discount from
Oh.
servers, and now there goes the trade from Sir Googie, and it's just this aggression that's been unmatched by
Attackers have
qvG
recovered
so
their
far on this
diffuser.
defensive half from Machine Soldiers Academy that they cannot keep in check at the moment. First it was Den, and well now it's just basically all of Machine Soldiers Academy, and now
Bomb
with
located
a
by
minute left to
attackers.
go, they are just now getting this hatches. And I mean, it's better late than never. I mean, they got 55 seconds left to go. They have more than enough time to make this execute onto site. I'm not giving up on them quite yet, but it doesn't really look like. I don't know. I feel like they don't really. They're just trying to figure out where they want to go.
Yeah, they look a little bit disjointed at the moment. I'm not quite sure what they want to do. They're just opening up hatches and then running to all of them, having a little look through. Makes them sense. We are going to get the hatches into, but we have Luqueta laid there waiting for the top as it comes. 30 seconds left to go. He takes more damage than he manages to give, but Gucci is very low on health, but Goody's on even lower health than under in the ground with another grenade coming from Just Pat. We've seen some great grenade work coming out from qvG here in this game. He does not know that there is a defender playing on the staircase. He does now as way thanks fire plant is going down. It's likely we have the player there at the bottom of the stairs go for that kill through the wall instead, and he does manage to deny that plant, and that's exactly what needed to happen. Rather than worrying about the player outside to the left, just stop that plant from going down in that default spot. Chances are you're going to win it on time, and that's exactly what happened there. So great ending to the round for Machine Soldiers, bringing them back from a round that possibly they didn't deserve.
I don't really. Yeah, it's that, and the fact that again, I said it during the whole round. Like really, their Machine Soldiers are playing with the aggression that qvG just can't handle. And if they're trying to handle it, they take way too long to take care of the aggression. It took them a while to really clear the players that were playing in this first floor area, in that first floor area of by the elevators, tellers, archives, and also again the elevator hall that's on the first floor. And also, it kind of took them a while to get the hatches. And then when they did get the hatches, they didn't really know which one of the hatches they wanted to use. It turned out that they were just wanting. I don't even know. At the end of the day, they just dropped down the red hatch into vault. Not
Yeah.
the red hatch, but the main lobby hatch into vault. And I mean, if Lukeda didn't whiff his shots at the end of the day, that could have been a very quick round for Machine Soldiers Academy, and it wouldn't have been as close as it was. But I mean, they could have almost won it. I felt like if maybe it was, I don't know, the Sledge knew that there was a player on main stairs. The wall next to, and also the Ayana of Sergugi, I think it was, or just Pat. I don't remember if it was the Ayana, but one of these Ayana players who was just there watching for his cover. The wall next to him is soft. You teammate planting right by it. You know there's a player on main stairs. Whether regardless of if it's a sledge or not, with the Mossberg or the SMG-11, you really need to act on that sooner so they don't get wall banged. Your
Attackers need
main
to
job in
locate
that
and defuse as
situation
many
with your
bombs as they
teammate is
can.
there to plant and to cover. And I felt
Yeah.
like the cover was just very lackluster.
Attackers have located
Yeah,
the bomb.
the gunfire came out, and then he was so slow to react to it. There's some gunfire,
Yeah.
and eventually started to tentatively peek round, but by then there was too much damage already done. I was reflecting on my comments about Machine Soldiers possibly not deserving that round talking, and I feel like I think I've probably done Machine Soldiers a disservice. To be fair to them in that last round, they managed to waste a whole lot of time. We saw that a minute and a half way through that qvG was still actually on the top floor. They hadn't even managed to completely clear the top floor in the first half of the round, so time was already against them at that point. We saw some nice picks coming out from the archives area, or the archives area. I can't remember who it was, but user upstairs when he got that pick, so there was some more time wasted. And then there was the haphazardness, or the like I said, the discoordination of qvG, as they couldn't seem to work out what hatch to use. So to be fair, I called it that maybe Machine Soldiers didn't deserve it, but on reflection, no, I think they did totally deserve it. It was a great from them when I look back on it. So let's see what happens here in round number 9, as they just need, when I say they, I mean Machine Soldiers need just one more round to go on to match point. And we are currently defending, is this open area? This is open area.
Wait.
Yeah, staff room and open. Staff room and open, we're defending. We haven't seen this site get played yet. This is the first time we're seeing it. So I'm interested to see how this is going to be defended. So far, Discount has lost his life, but Sergugi and F2 have both taken a lot of damage, but it really matters if Asma fall as well, and that is some important utility taken out. The Serena gates will be up. They're not going to come down anytime soon, so she's done that, but Aruni is a very, very useful operator. This is Malusi, who drops as well. 4 versus 2, and this is looking good for qvG right this round.
Yeah, I mean they have both of their play, but well, I was gonna say they have this mute in the post and play, and I was gonna say they also, both of these players have their nitro cells, but somehow they both of them have lost their nitro cells, so they don't have that no more. And so this post, well, is not meaningless. He can still collect intel and then relay it back to his team,
No, he
but
can't.
not no more because it's kind of dead. Just Pat just collects that kill, and it's now up to Tukan in a situation. I just think but I don't think it's gonna happen here. He's not
he's
low
got
on
this,
health,
he's
but
got
he has been hit. He has been hit.
He
And
wins
has
this.
players to worry about. Oh my god, there's a player in sight. Look at this. And he's gonna miss his shot on the goodie, and there you go. I mean, I didn't even know this dude was in sight. I'm as shocked as goodie, man. I don't even know. Oh, that's not even goodie. I'm sorry, Tukan. I'm as shocked as he was. What the hell? How the hell did he get into sight so quickly?
Yeah, it's like he peeked. It's like who was it left at the end there? Was it Tukan? Whoever it was, anyway, regardless if it was, peeked around the doorway, saw someone, and then immediately went back and didn't even realize that, hey, someone's there. Yeah, it's like he found his own team about it. And then I assume there was someone in the game with him just saying, you saw him, you literally saw him. And he looked. Yeah, that's the end of the round. So an unfortunate one there for Machine Soldiers. qvG demolished the round. Staff room and open area. That's not for you, Machine Soldiers. Do not go back there. I don't think that's really your site to go to. But CEO has just become unlocked. It was the first site they played. It was the first site they won. And they are going to go back there and see if they can repeat that success with Asma bringing out Maestro. I think that's the first time we've seen him come into play in this whole game. Not just this map, but in this whole game. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Maestro. Of course, he's got that powerful Alder, plenty of utility to his name. This could be a good switch up for Machine Soldiers to secure another win on this.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, another thing that's important to note is the main reason why
objective is to
MSA
locate a bomb
won
and
that last round on this same set was mainly because of Din establishing that position on the square. He did whiff his shot the very first time in lobby, but then he was able to rotate and make a big impact onto the round. But with this Maestro coming into play, that opens up a lot of utility for the side of MSA. Not only utility, but intel game, because that was a little bit cocky. Then there you
Oh,
first
damn.
pick into the round. I mean, that was I don't know what he was thinking. He just kind of like he knew that there was somebody there, but then I don't think he really knew that Sir was like prone like that, and he got a little bit too overconfident. Like I said, he just got a little bit too cocky, and he got punished for it. And here goes the auto from Ozma going third, but it's not going to hit anyone apart from that nade just connecting with him and almost costing him his life. But there goes the Venomous Pet, costing him his life. And qvG have just found their you know what, I probably there you go, potato Rome, and there goes F2 with the trade and discount with the trade right back. But discount is left on flashing red HP. That's about 30.
No, I think it's like 20. I think it flashes when you get to 20.
I wish they just brought the numbers back.
I'm pretty sure it's 20.
Yeah, this is why I wish they brought the numbers back, because it would have just been easier to tell. I always get it wrong, but
I like
okay.
numbers. You know where you are with numbers. It's nice and easy. Well, at the end of the day, it's one bullet in the toe. We know that much. So that's the important thing here. qvG have done a lot of work in this round, very, very quickly, managing to knock. Oh my god. Sir qvG just like in the chat. Yeah, how did you manage to miss that? What?
To be fair, discount was quite literally 5 HP, and that's the MP5 versus the ARX.
Yeah.
And the MP5 is a P shooter compared to the ARX, which is a hard. They're gonna nerf. You know, they always nerf assault rifles in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up nerfing the ARX anytime soon. He's playing paintball. My bad.
That was an unfortunate one for discount. He had a 3 kills lined up, and yeah, that's
That
not
was an
good.
insane flick though.
Yeah.
Despite discount being on like very low HP, that was an insane flick from Sir. And he closes out
Yeah.
that round. 2 rounds in a row for qvG. Now we're tied, and this could either go into an overtime or it could go into a
Hey.
match point
Attackers need to
for
locate and defuse
either one of
bombs.
these teams. And admittedly, I kind of want to see this go into a qvG because I kind of want to see what.
You want to see Oregon, do you? Okay. Well, we might not have to wait too long to find out. 5, we are... where are we? Yeah, we're going to see 2 more rounds played at... So whatever happens, we will see 2 more rounds. Whether we get a 6-6 or a 7-5 and go to overtime is another matter. Another overtime would certainly be very exciting, be in keeping with the rest of, or at least a lot of what's happened with some other games in the Champions Series this week, with yesterday, I believe, being overtime for every map. So today's game being just as close, which is what we love to see at this playthrough. For weeks on end, having 7-0s, 7-1s, and games that are close, and about finding the teams to get to this point where we should hopefully see those games that are very, very close, and it's not just a case of one team just absolutely stomping all over another. And that's what we're getting tonight from qvG versus Machine Soldiers. So whatever happens to the game, and great fight being put up by both these teams. Round number 11, 30 seconds in, 5-5. Let's see what's going to happen as we've got Thermite being brought out. Possibly the first time... Again, I think the first time in this game, the Quetzal's going to drop early. That is most for him. That's Jaeger out of play. And qvG have really woken up as they've switched over onto attack.
Man, I think it's Sir Googie, man. Sir Googie's just found his vibe in his back. Okay, no, it's just Pat is just going 12 and 8 as well, but Sir Googie going 13 and 6. Him and just Pat have found their footing into this match, and they're really putting qvG on their backs. It's not like qvG the rest of players are not having the best of
Oh.
matches. F2 just Pat grabbing a kill each, and it now leaves Toucan in the 1v5 situation as he's on blue stairs. I mean, he's the warden. He doesn't have a nitro cell. He's trying to use from range. Not a bad. I mean, look the way this game is. You could get a Mossberg shot from all the way from basement to roof if you could on this game. It hasn't happened, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't surprise me if it did now. But he is gonna try and get aggressive. I mean, that's really the only thing that he can do. He's gonna have some things way, and he's also gonna have a player pushing him down blue, and that's Sir Googie. I mean, he had nowhere else to go. He didn't even try and move out of that position. Not that he could have really been effective anywhere else in a 1v5 situation, but qvG is on match and a map point, and we either will see an overtime or we end up going straight to Oregon if this type of form continues from qvG.
This is interesting to see the map that was picked by. Well, I mean, we saw it in the first map, right? To be fair, with Coastline being lost, qvG losing on their map, so I guess it's only fair that Machine Soldier should lose on their map as well. But there's still time for Machine Soldiers to bring this back. They've got this one round to make a difference, kind of reset and move into the next, and then move into overtime if they can win this one and come at it with a different mindset. We saw Machine Soldiers starting on defense. Yeah, they started on defense, so they will start on attack if we go to overtime. And as we look at it, they actually have done a lot better on attack than done on defense. So it could be that if we can get to overtime again, it might just favor Machine Soldiers just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see how this one goes. They just need to hold it together for this one defensive round. Just get this one in the bag, and then they can kind of
10 seconds left
take a
before
breath
insertion.
and come into overtime with a slightly different
5 seconds to
outtake on it. And hopefully they'll be able to, hopefully for them at least, hopefully they'll be able to turn something around in overtime. But that being said, qvG have looked tremendous in the last 3 rounds. Absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, it's hard to stop a team that's on such a high and also on such good momentum. And at this moment, qvG are most definitely the team with the most momentum at the moment. They have Sir Googie and just Pat duoing, and just it feels like a duo queue versus a 5-stack at the moment. Not to count the other 3 players for qvG Academy, because they're doing their jobs as well. F2 doing a very good job on support, Goody doing a good job playing as a flex, and just Pat, as I just called them out again. There goes again the duo of just Pat and Sir Googie getting a kill each. Sir Googie grabbing a kill into Din, and just Pat grabbing a kill into Discount, and it's now left 3 players alive for MSA. And MSA in these last have just looked stunned. They have no answer for qvG at the moment. And 2 minutes left to go. Plenty of time for qvG to make action happen. And there goes Kato dealt with on that roam, and it now leaves only 2 players alive for MSA, and that they're basically in or sights. I don't really, yeah. Oh, there goes a shotgun kill from Toucan. There goes Gordon in play as he uses his ability to, well, deny the flashes from affecting the fancy Gucci sunglasses with his Gucci watch on. What's that song? Gucci flip flop. Sorry, not gonna forsake that. But there you go. And now it's a 4v2 man advantage for the side of qvG.
Not impossible here for these 2 players on Machine Soldiers. There's a lot of time though in favor of qvG. They've got 1 minute and 15 seconds. Asma's won, so things better. Asma's just waiting for people to drop through the hatches, and it looks like a hatch play is what's going to come out from qvG. They don't seem too interested in staircases. They do seem more interested in hatches, even though they are keeping an eye here on this blue staircase. But they are going to try to push from the top, open this hatch, and also push in from the bottom. So yeah, Toucan is going to be in a bit of a pickle because he does fall, doesn't need the pinch, but he does get left on his own. Does drop, leaving Asma all playing solo, and they know exactly where he is with 40 seconds left to 1 player on hatch, 2 pushing towards the doorway. And Asma just has to hold them back. I don't know if he's got a C4 available, but he's going to push aggressively into... I'm not sure if this is the play. Yeah, he's going to get taken out by F2, and that is map number 2 going to qvG. Are going to head to Oregon for map number 3, the very last map, and it's all going to come down to who's better on Oregon.
Yeah, the momentum clearly being in qvG's favor after winning. What was it, like 4 rounds in a row? That was, and unfortunately for MSA, they just couldn't match the same energy. It wasn't meant to be their own map pick going in the way of qvG's, just like how they took the map pick of qvG's on Coastline. And now, I said I wanted it. I don't think I want it no more. And I hope, for God's sakes, that this isn't another max OT, because I don't know if my heart can take it. And I also have not eaten today. I'm very hungry.
Well, on the plus side, we get another break where you get to go and Doritos and see if there's anything.
I lied about the Doritos.
No.
Ah, come on! I told you this.
Disappointing. All right, no Doritos for Wimby, but we do get a break at a great second map. I don't. I think Coastline was more. I was going to say Coastline was more enjoyable. They've both been really enjoyable, but what I notice is that both times on defense, qvG managed to win 4 rounds in a row. Both times that they played defense, they won 4 times in a row. Clearly, defense is just something that they get into. No stopping them, so fair play to them. You kind of expect it. qvG were the top of the majors. They did come in first place. They had 6 wins and 3 draws throughout the season, whereas Machine Soldiers came in 4th, I believe it was, with 4 wins and 5 draws. So clearly qvG are the higher seed and do come into this with much better odds on taking the win. But Machine Soldiers, not to be counted out, they have been doing very, very well against this Titan team. Machine Soldiers joined us last season in minor league when they were Team Ninso, and then they became Machine Soldiers Academy for. And after this season, they're actually going to become main team. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing with that. And at the moment, they're showing why they have earned their way there. So fair play to Machine Soldiers, but qvG on bank just better. Clearly, they did have something to show us, and they were just banning it to save strats. So good to see what qvG had to bring out there. GG to both teams, and we're getting ready to go to Oregon, a map that we've seen many times and is pretty much 50-50 when it comes to side favoring, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I feel like I don't know. Oregon is one of those maps where most definitely have some really good attacking play, or the attackers don't know how to play attack at all, and it could just be extremely defender sided. I've actually seen a match where like attack was like the main side to win, which was unusual to me. But I don't know. I think both of these teams, they're both very coordinated. They're both very organized. They know how to clearly play the game of Siege, and that's as good as it can get when it comes to a map like Oregon, which is probably I kind of like, I don't really compare it to Clubhouse in terms of like the way it's built, but the way it's played really is one of the more Siege. It's a Siege classic. Everybody knows Oregon, even with the everybody knows this map. Everybody has played this map to all oblivion. People call it Borgen, but it's a classic. Everybody knows how to play it. If you don't know how to play it, then you haven't been playing this game too long, or you haven't been watching it too long.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a hot take where I actually prefer the old Oregon to the new Oregon.
Oh, come on. Nah, end it right now. We're gonna break.
And on that note, we will go to a break. We will be back very soon for map number. Deciding who's going to take it, we'll find out very soon. Thank you for sticking with us this long, and we will be back shortly.
Organization, but the one thing about the site, if the attackers have the vertical control, they can make you pay, but that's typical to make Stizzy pay for just swapping over that. Oh my god, he does another kill. Typical, that's the fuser down. What the heck, Ayana? He's looking so funny. That's another kill for Typical. There's no way. I can't believe this. Gecko is in the 1v2. There's no way. hard, and that's actually lethal. That could have been another for him, but it's a good shot from Johnny. And now with 1v3, it could be a 1v3. This is actually still down. He could have grabbed his kill and on a sliver of HP. His health bar is flashing red for that reason. Because, oh, there you go, and that's no wall.
Are you ready for this?
They take so when it looks like they're in the driver's seat, they take 3 steps back, and I mean that's a step that you do not want to take. Frozen Hex is able to grab that kill. Frozen backs up on the battle.
15 seconds left to go now, and that's another nice kill from Tex. He's able to find his third, but not quite the fourth. Mastery is now the only one that stands in the way. He's just going to have to try and run away. Swings around the corner, and Kex wins it somehow. 1 versus 3. That is not a situation that should be happening at all. What?
Matrix teleport from Skylight. And it's going to be looking like Bakerboy's been sitting on these rappel angles in there. Oh, Matrix! What a shot! Maybe 2. Oh, Matrix! What the hell? Matrix, are you insane?
And that's definitely not hard. And that's actually the Mika down. So no more temporary crafting tech. Wow, you gotta be kidding.
God, no
Shark.
way.
They have the Ace, they have the Ayana, they have the Sledge. Sledge still has the Dragon Man.
Oh
Never
my.
mind. Man,
Baby Shark again, just really getting up in the faces. There's the quad. Nice little tap fire there. DJ Kiosk now on the ace. And there's Baby Shark with the ace. Flawless round from Loud as just Eagle Empire folded.
Oh, hello, welcome back. And we are on our final map. We are going to Oregon. If you guys missed out on the action and this is your first time tuning in. The very first map we had Coastline, MSA or Machine Soldiers Academy, as everybody knows them. One Coastline in overtime, 8-7 max overtime maximum point, whatever. 8-7, and then what we just saw, what just happened, the reason why we are on break now instead of just going and off an ending stream is because qvG Academy, I'm sorry, qvG Esports actually won bank on 7-5, and now we are heading on to Oregon, which is our decider. So we don't have any other maps other than this. And it looks
This
like
is it.
we're ready to start. We're going straight into it.
Yeah, so Oregon. Now this is an interesting one. We saw Machine Soldiers taking qvG to the absolute limit on qvG's map pick. We then saw qvG just doing slightly better against Machine Soldiers map pick. Now we come to Oregon. Teams have played each other here before, and Machine Soldiers took the win either 7-3 or 4 correctly. So this could be very, very interesting and could be Machine Soldiers' game to win. Thatcher is going to get banned. I wouldn't be surprised to see Maverick coming out here as a second ban, but it could be anyone. It's going to be Flores. I think we've seen this before from Machine Soldiers banning Flores on this map. So I normally would expect a Maverick, but Flores not a huge surprise either. What are you expecting to see here from the defensive bans, Wumby?
As
Kaid,
per
Valkyrie,
usual.
Mira. There's the Mira.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mira, and as per usual, a Kaid ban. For in the ban meta, if anybody calls it that, at least in the ban phase, a lot of the time, especially nowadays in comp play, teams usually ban Kaid on almost every map because he's really, really effective. But instead of the Kaid, that's also another famous ban. We get the Valkyrie instead, and Valkyrie and Mira both being banned removes a lot of intel from. And interestingly enough, also the Flores being banned. And Flores has also found himself banned a lot as well, mainly because a lot of teams will play these power positions. Like for example, on basement, there's the elbow position and that little what people call it tarp or blue tarp or whatever the case may be. People want to play that position in the elbow, and usually a Flores makes that impossible even with the mute because a Flores drone can sometimes bypass the mute, especially with support from a Finka. But we're going to Meeting Hall Kitchen, and from the attack from Din, we see Amaru.
WTF?
Yeah. I was gonna say that's interesting, but I don't even that's not the word. I think that's a little bit of an odd that's not even just an odd pick. That's a
Attackers need to locate and defuse
can I
bombs.
say there's no such thing as a wrong pick, but if I could say that there if there's a definition for a wrong pick in this game, that's probably one of them. Especially on
It's
this
not. It's not the most obvious choice.
Attackers have located
But to
a bomb.
be fair, they're probably not expecting Meeting Hall and Kitchen to be the first site to get played. They're probably expecting the top floor because Dorms is very, very popular as the primary site. However, of course, it's very easy to look at Amaru and think, oh, you picked Amaru because you just want to go up through a window onto the floor straight away and do some damage, which isn't always the case. She does have other ways to use that ability. For example, you can get your plant down, drop down a hatch, and then cover from below, and then zoom back up through the hatch at just the right time. Or just like here, if you do have a hatch in the site that you can go up through, then it is possible that once you've isolated some defenders, that you just burst up through the hatch straight into sight, and you're there and ready to go. So there could be all number of reasons why he wants to bring Amaru. I'm just not sure in this round we're really going to see Den's dreams come to reality by playing this pick. Now it's interesting that we see qvG has actually left one half of that open, clearly for a quick rotate out. So there's probably some players in the bedroom that are going to be looking to rotate out that way should they need to, as Sir Googie is roaming around over inside.
Yeah, and he's also going to be the first pick. The thing, okay, that's the thing about, I guess, the Amaru is that at least for her G8, Asma getting a follow-up pick, and then he gets another. That's a misplay. I wouldn't even call it a misplay. That's a whole whiff from F2, and he misses.
Attackers
He
have dropped the bomb
misses a
diffuser.
whole lot of Asma. It's now up to Pex and
Attackers
Pat
recovered the
in
bomb
this
diffuser.
5v2 situation. I was gonna say for the Amaru, at least for her G8, she does still have all of her ACOG sites. And
Yeah.
the G8 is still one of the more powerful guns, even still on IQ, despite her not having her ACOGs in it. It's just such a good gun. It doesn't have a lot of recoil. LMG has a bunch of bullets, and speaking of bullets, there goes some bullets not hitting the target as just Pat just misses almost. That's just a bunch of whiffs coming from qvG at the moment, but that's not a whiff. There goes a whiff. Okay, there you go. I mean, he slims it down to a 4v. He has a player right behind him, and he might just catch Din, but never mind. Din is just crouch peeking his way. He's salsa dancing his way to the finals, and he catches him. I mean, there you go. And there goes the round for MSA. I mean, Mara wasn't really that effective. She finally did get her kill at the end of that round. I think, did qvG open up that one panel of meeting themselves, or was that
I
opened
think
up
they
by
did.
MSA?
Yeah, I think they.
Oh, okay. That's a play.
They seem to like playing holes into sight and playing slightly off site. They seem to do just like opening up sites for people to look in. They don't really seem to hide behind reinforcements too much, which is an interesting choice. But a great first round there for Machine Soldiers. Very unexpected. Opened up early on by Asma getting those quick kills as he just moved his way through the kitchen and the hallway. So a good start for Machine Soldiers. That's the first time that they take the lead and win the first round at the start of a map. So this could be very promising for Machine Soldiers as we now go downstairs to laundry and supply room. There was some interesting things in that I wanted to talk about, but I'll be honest, I've forgotten what most of them are now. So let's move on to laundry and supply room.
Wait, was it about the last round or just this cycle?
No, the last round specifically.
Oh, no, I get like that too, like where I want to say something and then I keep trying to say it, but I know I forgot what I said. It's a hot mess. I totally get it.
5 seconds to insertion.
You're
It
like,
is the heat. It is the heat. Yeah.
it's
Attackers'
the heat, I
objective
get
is
it.
to locate a bomb and
Usually,
defuse it.
even without the heat, it could literally just be me feeling normal and I could forget what I was going to say within 0.1 seconds of me thinking about it. But what I'm not gonna forget is what site we're playing on. I don't have that bad of a. We're on basement.
Yeah, dorms. Oh.
What?
No, it is basement. You're absolutely right. I was just teasing you.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. You almost fooled me because I almost. Wait, really?
No, we are definitely on basement. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. It's all right. It's all good. We do see the Ella come out, and actually, Ella on basement is not uncommon at all. But
No.
what's a little bit uncommon, well, not really, just Pat is playing in a very aggressive position all the way off site with this Thunderbird, and the first player he's gonna come into contact with is Asma. Asma did not expect him to be there, obviously, because he wouldn't be air jabbing the same place that he was at, and he's gonna have some trouble taking out that air jab. Is just Asma. I mean, not sorry, just hit. But then with the flick the LMG does go brr, and he's completely deleted his opponent on the top of the There goes that plus two sister rivalry, and there goes another for the side of MSA as they grab this time Sir Boogie. That's your Jaeger gone, and this roam game from qvG is being shut down as quickly as it started. I mean, it started off pretty well, just Pat grabbing the Nomad, and the Nomad is not no operator to really, you know, I don't know how to explain it. What's the saying? Like, it's not a player, it's not an operator that you want to serve, and it's a very good pick for qvG, but after that it just kind of stumbled. They lost two really important picks of their own, and now MSA have plenty of time to work with, really, but right now they're just standing still. There's not a lot of going on map, despite them having most of, if not almost all of the map control, really, apart from the actual
recovered the bomb
sites.
diffuser.
Well, we saw this from them on Coastline, where there was a point where it looked like they weren't really doing anything. Suddenly, seconds or 30 seconds, flooded into sight and made a play, and maybe that's what they're doing here. They're just setting up. We can see drones moving around, getting intel. We can hear hatches getting open by the breach charges being brought out by Laqueta on Buck. And Machine Soldiers are clearly getting ready to make that push site with 30 seconds still left to go. I think Thunderbird, being played by Just Pat over here in blue, could be a bit of a sticky one here. He's there, but Toucan knows that he's there now. He just runs right out and manages to get that kick. Gas grenade is going as the attack does get stopped dead in its tracks, literally by the SMG-11 of F2, but he does quickly fall at the hand of Den. Diffuser in the hand of Den. He just needs to start planting. It's a 1 versus 2. Plant going down, not in a default spot. And that kind of that kind of fools kicks for a moment, but as he tries to move out, he realizes the pillar, but he has the presence of mind, the clarity and the focus to know, don't worry about that player. I can hear the plant going down. I just need to get into sight where there is a vulnerable player that's not going to be able to do anything. Even if he gets off that diffuser and tries to shoot me, the time is going to be up and we'll likely win the round. He had to make that play. He made that play. He did it very well and managed to get that win there for qvG, evening it out at 1-1. So great finish there for I forgot what it was already, to be honest, but a great play and a great finish to that round as we go 1-1 at the end of 2, and we're going to go to kitchen and dining next.
Yeah, that was a good finish from
Attackers
Hex
need to
there in the
locate and
1v2
defuse any bombs
situation.
they
I'm not
can.
too sure about the cover from the planter in side of pillars. I mean, that was a decent spot for him to be played in, but after that, it was just
You have to hit your shots though in that position. That's the
you have to hit your shots, but you also have to react quickly. He realizes that the player is getting a plant off in either default, and then he can also probably hear that, or he can obviously hear the player planting next to him, and he probably did hear the latter, which was
10
the player
seconds to go.
planting right next to him, not the player planting in default. And he just ran in and got a
5
kill.
seconds
The lack of urgency from the player in killing, because we seen that on the last
Attackers are heading out to
I
defuse the
can't
bomb.
remember. It was from qvG actually that this happened, where a player was planting behind a soft wall, and they knew a player was main stairs. It was the basement, and the player that was covering him didn't react till like 5 years later. And this is the kind of the same thing as what happened. Not only did he miss his shots, but he kind of failed to react accordingly.
Bomb has been located.
So as we come into round number 2, we are going to kitchen and dining. The first time that we've seen this site get played. Not going back to meeting room and kitchen, which was the first choice for qvG. They're going to try this one. Oh, okay. So gunfire there is just going to force Gucci back just a little bit. As we can see, it looks like a small tower take coming out here from the attackers as they are starting to converge in this position. We've already got Laqueta playing on Buck up above, opening up the holes in the floor to try and push some anchors out of the way to take out any electric that might be on that wall down below, which there's none. There's no high play. We don't have a smoke. There is actually no denial on this wall, so it is free for the taking. But still some damage being done up above just in case. We've got a pretty default position being played here by Goody Showers, though he is kind of exposed there. He's trapped in that grenade is going to do him a little bit of damage, just going to tickle him, but not enough to really make a huge impact. Getting spotted by the Jones, he has to move out, but he does expose himself, and he is actually going to stay here in the shots and get some real damage done to him as he drops down to 1 HP. Really good position here, and this is a strong position for the Maestro to be. He's the linchpin of this defense because he holds down the attack into the site from the doorway and through the main wall, but also through the showers itself. So that is a very strong position to have, and that has just been given away as good. Dropped 2 versus 2. Toucan with diffuser in hand, making his way towards the site to try to get that plant down.
Yeah, between both of these teams, each player on each team at the moment, 2v2, all of these players have 100 HP. It's just a matter of who can really hit their shots, and F2 most definitely cannot, as Toucan triple killed this round, and he completely takes the head off of F2, wipes him out of this universe. And there's a player in the bathroom as Kex is rotating himself through the bathroom. Oh wait.
Oh, they don't know. They don't know.
Asthma doesn't know about this.
Now he hears him.
That was clean though. That was a nice flick. He heard him at the time. He was just right behind him. He could have caught Asthma off guard, but Asthma using his earphone day. I don't know what earphones he's using,
It's a good
but I'll
headset.
tell you
Good
what,
headset.
no. Razer Basilic X. I'm not sponsored, but soon. Maybe. Not yet. Not yet. Maybe. Future.
Not a fan of the Razors myself, but anyway, we're going to dorms next, as that was a. Would we say it was a convincing round to Machine Soldiers? They lost a lot of people, but it was a fairly strong round. They didn't really do too much wrong. I mean, they really dominated Maestro. They just gangbanged him there in those showers, pushing in from every angle, and just really making life hard for him. And once he'd taken out, free to just get in there and get that plant down and get in, which is what they did. Although I don't think the plant actually
Defenders,
got
protect your
completed. I think
bombs.
the
Being
kill came out
defended by
before
attackers.
the plant was done, but they would have got that plant anyway. So yeah, a really good round from Machine Soldiers. They go up 2-1, managing to stay in the lead, which they didn't do on either of the other maps. I don't think they were sort of always behind a little bit for a while, and then sort of brought it back. So they're taking the early lead here on Oregon. Like I said, these two teams have played here together before. Machine Soldiers won it. So I think they're going to be pretty confident at this point. What do we think, Wumby? From what we've seen so far, who do you think this is likely to go to? What's your predictions?
5
Well,
seconds to go.
it's a hard one to call. I feel like that last round
Attackers'
was
objective is
it
to
was a
locate
bit
a bomb.
weird from qvG. You said it before, but they don't like to hide behind reinforcements. They seem to like to open up their sight a lot more. Where and that I feel like that type of a play style, that type of freedom, plays right into the play style of Machine Soldiers. But Jesus Christ,
Wow.
Sir Gucci, all the way from the of meeting, is able to down Lucada, and Lucada's gonna be picked right back up, but he is on 25 HP. So I think one shot at least could take him down, and then he cannot be revived after that. He's just out for the round, and that's a bit of a shame, because that is your Buck player, and Lucada on Buck and Sledge, as is his consistent roles in the attack for MSA whenever they have played on the attack for the last two maps. He's been pretty solid on that. So if they end up losing him early, that could really screw them over in this round alone, because there's a lot of vertical play to be had on kids' dorms. But you see the Maverick doing his job. He's making some holes, some peak holes, some foot holes, and also again, some peak holes. But the first player to get down is actually going to be Dan, but he's gonna get picked right back up from the stems from discount. The first player, well, he was down at the very beginning, and he's going to be down and out for this round. There goes Lucada on your Buck. And that takes a lot of soft priest utility away from the defense again, which is very crucial on a site like this dorms. And now they're going to have to think of really another plan of pushing these defenders out of position, and also making them uncomfortable to the point where they can isolate them on their own sites and be able to make an execution. They have two players in Attic, and they have other players elsewhere. I'm not too sure,
Bomb has been located.
but they also have a minute and 10 left to work.
Yeah, and as we get into that last minute, we do see Sergu fall. That's Jaeger off the board, along with Kex on mute as well. Now, Kex is doing some good work in the last couple of maps for qvG, so that's an important operator for them to lose, especially as he has a C4, or had a C4 at least. I don't know if he died with it, but either way, that's some very good plant denial. We can see we're now in a 4 versus 3 with Den low on health. He did get downed earlier, but he survived by the Finkers, so much like Kukweta, if we see him fall again, he isn't going to go into a down but not out state. He will just leaving just 3 players left, but then it's going to manage to take one down. Just even it's in a 2 versus 3 in favor of the Machine Soldiers quite heavily as they pick off another player. Just Pat all on his own. Plant is going down. Is in the down but not out state, and the plant is stopped. 15 seconds left. Plant is started, and it must have been heard by Pat. He must know it's there as he starts to run towards the site, desperately just trying to find where that diffuser is. And yeah, he gets shot in the back, and down he goes. F in the chat for a Rooney. That was just disgusting.
I was, but it's kind of that end of, I don't know why, but like kill cams make me laugh so much when a player is, obviously in a state of like disarray, and they have to rush themselves back onto site, and clearly it's just Pat. He heard the diffuser go down, or possibly the audio was picked up from one of the cameras that was in and around the site, and that made him panic. Either the calls did, or just the plant sound in general.
Yeah.
and he got shot in the back, of course, and that's not what you want to see. But we
Unless
we
you're machine
move.
soldiers, in which case you do want to see that.
Attackers
But
need to
now
locate
they're
and defuse bombs.
now qvG are actually 3-1 down, and they're going back to that same site. I didn't think, you know what? I didn't think they played too badly on the site. I felt like they needed some tweaks on that. I felt like, again, the first pick went their way. They got rid of some soft reach utility, and after that, they just kind of collapsed onto the site, and MSA were able to take advantage of that collapse. And also, they weren't really, again, and the main thing about Siege is before it is anything else, they just weren't winning their gunfights, and all of those gunfights went away with MSA, and that's the main reason why they won
10
it.
seconds
At
left
all,
before insertion.
regardless of all that, though, I felt like they played this site pretty
5
well. They
seconds left
wasted
before
enough of
insertion.
MSA's time to really,
Attackers'
to
objective
really
is to
make
locate a
that
bomb
push
and defuse
happen, and it just wasn't meant to be for them. But they are 3-1 down, so if they are gonna grab a round, it should be now. As MSA are looking very dominant on attack so far.
Yeah, so as we head into round number 5, we've got Machine Soldiers taking a very good lead. This is one of the strongest leads that they've had, certainly this early on at least in the game. So qvG need to step their game up a little bit, but we have seen already from pretty much both these teams that both of them seem to do better on attack for the most part. These two teams just seem to thrive when it comes to attack. So, maybe this is just the way this is going to go. We'll get a 3-3 or a 4-2 at the end of this, and then it'll switch around as we get to the next side, and then we'll get another OT. But who knows? Like I said, the last time these two teams played each other here on this map, I believe it was a 7-3 or a 7-4 the Machine Soldiers. So maybe this is just the way it's supposed to go, as drones are being sent out all over the place, trying to find those roamers, as the team are getting ready to make their way through that attic wall to attack onto this site.
See them doing the same thing they did last time. Not that, but Kex being the first one to die by Lucada, and I think that was a skeleton key. I heard that. The one thing that I will never, forget the sign of is a skeleton key. Just absolutely murky. And there you go, you have it. So, I mean, they're doing the same thing that they did last time. The push from Attic, the hole being made by the Maverick, the crouch hole, and also the one little peek hole
A
for
bomb
the
has been
nade.
located.
And then the feet holes being made so that somebody could be prone and just look for some heads to peek just above that little platform that separates the top part of Attic to that bottom part that bottom part that makes an L. But Asmon's actually gonna get the second pick for MSA, and this round could just as quickly be over as it started. And I mean, it's been about 2 minutes that's passed so far, and MSA, they have a healthy lead going into this. They have players all over the place, and they're about to completely dominate qvG here in this 5v2 situation. Asthma is on, like, I think that is 45 HP. It doesn't matter because, again, qvG have such a low man count compared to the man count of MSA. But MSA, the one thing that's not in their favor is the time. They have 30 seconds left to go. This Pat makes this a 3v2. Now what? 3v2. F2 making this at 3v2, grabbing that kill onto Toucan, and it was looking so good for MSA, but they are not looking too hot right now. F2 grabbing a double kill this round. Just
10
Pat
seconds remaining.
is going to get a down, and now he's dead. Okay, Lucada just rushes up white stairs, and I mean, that was looking like it was going to come back from qvG,
Yeah.
but Lucada with that key flank up white stairs destroyed all hopes of that. And now it's a 4-1 scoreline at the moment, and MSA are like that round was completely dominant from them up until the last few seconds where they kind of just rushed in and they got caught out. But right now the scoreline is 4-1 and qvG don't have an answer.
Yeah, we almost saw a 2 versus 5 win there coming out from qvG, but Luqueta just managed to save it as he came back up that staircase and took the round in favor of Machine Soldiers. This is like I was saying through that round, this is the first time we've seen either team get such a foothold on the game so early on. Not sure what's happening with qvG, but this isn't really where they want to be at this point. We do have, okay, looks like we are getting a rehost. Okay, interesting. All right, we are going to get a rehost, which means you'll get to see our faces for a little bit while our world famous observer, Mr. Trippin, sets this game back up, and hopefully he's been taking careful note of what sites we've been playing, so he gets the rehost right. I'm sure he's a professional. I'm sure he's got it all sorted out. So, 1B, what do you make of this so far?
Well, I think I said it before. I said it. This is looking pretty. It's not even looking pretty bad. It's looking really, really awful for QVG at the moment.
Hmm.
I mean, I, I if anybody told me, well, actually, I would probably believe them. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, but like, it's a sense of Oregon as a defender-sided map, and Machine Soldiers are just completely undoing the defensive structure of QVG at the moment, and it's I said it before, but the freedom that QVG are playing with at the moment that plays right into the play style of MSA, and it's not paying off well for them, and they really need to find the adjustments and fix it, because if they keep letting MSA get away with these rounds, and it's not a sense of like, oh, they're getting off doing like dumb shit. No, they're not. They're doing the basics, and again, QVG are just playing right into their play style, and QVG aren't reading into it well. They need to really find that little kink in their playstyle and like unkink it and fix it, because it's only going to get worse from here if we keep seeing the same old that we see.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like it's looking like Machine Soldiers have really started to get into their stride as we come to Oregon. We've seen back and forth across both maps that we've seen so far play out to their fullest, or at least at the start of the matchups. Towards the end of the matchups, it's got a little bit more runaway for either one team or the other. Whereas this is the first one where we're seeing just a clear dominance coming out from one of these two teams, and it feels like Machine Soldiers have just taken some confidence. They feel good on this map. They feel like this is the one where they're going to win it regardless. I think they've come into this one with a lot of confidence, and that is certainly showing. They almost threw it away in that last round, like I said, with that 2v5 almost going against them when it should have gone much more for them. But still, they managed to keep it together. Laqueta managed to come in and take control of the situation. We had a player down, just managed to get that kill, and that finished the round for them. So a good bit of work from Machine Soldiers. The game is now back up and running, and we are going to get straight into round number 6, the last round of the first half. And we see Machine Soldiers going into it 4-1 up. And they are going to be looking for a 5-1 split. But even if it goes to the second half as a 4-2 split, it's still a good position for Machine Soldiers, and it's looking really good right now.
Yeah, that gives them, Oregon, as it has been established throughout the years that Siege has been, a game, and Oregon has been a part of it. Oregon is a defender's side of the map, and if they go 5-1 up or even 4-2, this bodes well for the defensive half, because defense, while it hasn't been so good for QG, has been like really, really hasn't been good for QVG. That could be the complete opposite from what we see from MSA, where we see them completely dominate on their defense. As the time is on 0. But Bandit comes out, which is interesting.
I do like Bandit. Bandit's a great operator. We don't see him. Well, we haven't really seen him at all in this matchup. This might even be the first time he's been brought into play. Tell me, when you play Bandit, what site do you use?
It depends on my mood. If I'm feeling like I can hit my shots, I usually go Iron Sight. If I can't, then I go Hollow. Hollow's like my second favorite site in the game, behind their 1.5. But the main reason why I don't think Bandit is played as well is because while Kaid is banned a lot, even when he's not banned, people play him a lot with Bandit, because tricking with Kaid is a lot safer than it is to trick with Bandit. Bandit tricking is the definition of a lost art. People don't know how to do it correctly anymore because people are so used to doing Kaid tricking, for the main fact that it's just simply safer to do it. because you can just throw it from a distance, and there you go to wall trick.
I'm a bandit trick master. I can make that happen. Bandit, I can make it happen. But the problem, of course, with bandit is that his utility is just so big and easy to find. You always know pretty much. Nicely. Oh no! You. Well, a beautiful opening kill from the Quetta, but just very quickly back with a lovely D4 from below. I think that was coming out from. I think it was Pat. Yeah, it was Pat with that C4. So yeah, there you go. Bandit, just an awesome operator. He's doing it wrong. He's got holographic. It's supposed to be iron sights. That is the best sight for Bandit, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, the problem with Bandit's batteries is they're just so big. You always know where they're going to. Very thin panels, so it's just too easy to get to these days. Everyone knows what they're doing. Whereas with Paid, like you say, you can trick from a distance. Plus, if you're not tricking, it's just so easy to hide that utility. You could put it on the floor above or below the reinforcement, for example. Put it outside. You know, you can electroclaw both of the elbow and electrical walls by throwing the electroclaws from garage just outside to just where Den's looking at right now. He's so much more flexible and versatile than Bandit when it comes to that kind of utility. So it makes perfect sense. It does make perfect sense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Kaid isn't banned at all, and neither one of in this map alone, and qvG hasn't brought it not once. The Bandit is a curious choice, but it looks like they have some sort of ode and addict to the neither just taking complete control from above, so that they don't easily just get the Bandit charging from below. But they have the Maverick in play. They do open up that wall, but the wall is opened up just for big kill onto the Plasticine player of Den. He wasn't really expecting that whatsoever. He wasn't facing the right way, and that's exactly what got him killed. But Goody is traded out. That's not the player that killed Den. F2 was. But he's still even man count, and that is a disgusting shot from Discount. Selling shots at a discount, and he completely sold that one onto whoever he just killed. That shot was so clean, I forgot who he. And that was the 3v3.
Kex should have got that kill. I mean, he had the headshot lined up, but yeah, I mean, when you've got an LMG that's just throwing bullets down range at that sort of rate with no need to reload, it's a tricky one. But anyway, F2 is going to be the last man standing with about 15 HP. He is going to pick off Asthma. The plant is going to be successful from 2 cam. Got one player upstairs watching down through the hatch for that post-plant take. 40 seconds to go, 2 kills to find in 33 seconds, and then stick that diffuser. One player on the back stairs, but the grenade is going to end it all. Well played to Discount. And this rehost clearly hasn't done any favors for qvG. As Machine Soldiers are still very much on top, and we get a 5-1 split at the end of the first half in this last map. Launch and supply is where we are going to go to next. This is looking very good for Machine Soldiers right now. I struggle to imagine a world where it's not impossible, because Machine Soldiers have just won 5.5. But I'm struggling to imagine a world where qvG can come back from this one to be able to win the 5 rounds, or the 6 rounds even, that they need to take the victory here.
Yeah, I kind of went silent there because I'm
I'm
at a loss.
Yeah.
I'm at a shock right now. I'm happy that I don't have a migraine right now. My migraine has not come yet, and it's mainly because I took some. Well, actually, I took a lot of medicine last night. So that's usually I don't have an asthma migraine the day after, but I'm not only like shocked by what I'm seeing. I'm a little bit disappointed in qvG because I expected this map to be a lot closer. This is not the first time they played Oregon, and it just seems like they're taken aback by the map itself, not really how Machine Soldiers are playing, because Machine Soldiers are doing basic stuff.
Yeah.
This is basic siege stuff that happens on Oregon all the time. You can see this shit in rank. This is not new at all, and it's just a bit shocking to see qvG kind of falter so quickly on this map right now. It's shocking, not only for the mere fact that they're like 5-1 down, but also for the mere fact that that was on their defensive half. That's what makes it even worse. And there goes the
That's the Gon 6.
Yeah, the Gon
Useless.
6. There you go, and it gets depleted because of the Wamai. So the
Just gone.
Wamai yeah, and he can't get rid of that Goyo shield now. So there you go. Not only was he, I don't know, it was nice of him to try and go under the Marini gates. That was a nice play, but he just ultimately got, or well, they didn't really know about the utility being used, and they obviously don't know about
Bomb
asthma
located by attackers.
roaming. And there you go. He gets the first pick, and he
Don't
might
turn
get
your
a
back,
second
Aston.
if he
Don't turn your
doesn't
back.
turn. Why did he
Oh.
not? Why did he play like that?
In the words of Kickstar, why are you running? All right. But very quickly it gets turned round. Toucan manages to get one along with Laquetas. Has taken, and again, we see people just running away from people with guns, and it doesn't help them out.
Wait,
They get
what the
shot in the
hell?
back. Discount just manages to pick up 2. Looks like we're getting a tactical timeout called by qvG, and that's not a bad call, to be fair, because they really are struggling. As Machine Soldiers now go on match point, they just need to win 1 round. They are 6-1 up. I know you can't believe it, Wumby, because, well, you've already been silent and speechless. I'm getting
Yeah.
that way as well. Kids dorms is going to be the next site to play, and I can't see Machine Soldiers losing 5 in a row at this point.
No, I said this on Coastline. They're a vibes team, and clearly they got a
He's
vibe.
vibing heavy right
They're
now.
they're vibing right now, and it doesn't look like qvG are going to kill that vibe. It's like that Kendrick Lamar song, "Bitch, don't kill my vibe." And clearly qvG aren't trying to kill that vibe whatsoever. It's 6-1 at the moment, and this is the opposite of what I expected whatsoever. Like I did, you know what, I didn't vote in the community poll, and I don't usually vote in community polls because I just don't really like to. I only did it yesterday because I thought Wii Sports would win, and they didn't. And even then, I wouldn't know who to put my money in this game. And if you would have told me that Machine Soldiers would go 6-1 up on a decider map, I would have quite literally, I don't know what I would have done, but I would have not believed you at all.
You would have dropped your Doritos in distress.
No.
That's what you would have done.
And then
You would have
Yell is
dropped
laughing
you
in
would
the
have dropped
background.
your
This makes it
Doritos,
worse.
hot
Defenders, protect
salsa,
your
and
bombs from
guacamole
being
dips
defused
all
by
over your lap.
What? You eat? Wait, you eat salsa with your,
Yeah, the Doritos do a hot salsa dip that you
like
can
the
dip it.
nacho cheese ones?
Yeah,
Oh man, I don't know.
yeah. It's cool stuff. Anyway.
Can we wrap this up? I think this is over. This is done.
Well, I think we are getting close to wrapping it up. Like I said,
Ah.
I just don't know. I'd love to see qvG fight back and win 5 in a row, or 4 in a row at least, to make this 7-5. But I just
10
don't
seconds
know that
remaining.
I can see it coming. We're going to dorms, which are actually the size of just switch. What was the site that you just played? I can't recall.
It was meeting.
It was basement, wasn't it?
It was basement.
Locate
Okay.
and
Basement,
defuse the
okay.
bomb.
For some reason, I thought it was meeting hall dining because
That's where all the action
MSA
was.
Yeah, that's where not only that, but their setup was so extended on on this first floor. Even though the
Yeah.
site was all the way in basement, you don't usually hold that extended. And well, what we gotten used to seeing is MSA getting picked almost every single round, and then it starts it off with bang, and he grabs Goody, and that's your Finka gone, and he could have almost grabbed himself a second, but he almost could have got himself killed as this Pat runs away from that. But Sir Googie gets the trade, and if anything, if anybody's going to perform in this matchup, oh, that was just nick of time, as then actually gets a double. He grabs kicks. I was gonna say, if anybody's going to need to step up right at this very moment, it's going to be Sir Googie. He did such a good job on Bank to help his team propel to that map win, also paired with just Pat in that matchup, so and that Bank map. But at the moment, 6-1 down. They need a hero. What's the? You know what? I keep referencing songs. I know this song. I can't remember
Bonnie
it though.
Tyler, I need a hero, I guess.
Yeah, I need a
Maybe.
hero. I don't. But yeah, they need a hero right now, and they I don't know. They need to find 5 rounds, but I don't know if it's possible.
This
Because the
grenade.
nade coming
Oh.
here, Sir Googie was, well, not perfectly cooked. It was just a little bit undercooked. Well, not even just a little bit undercooked. but nonetheless, it wasn't cooked good enough. And it's a stalemate at the moment. It's a minute and 20 left. qvG have enough time to work
Bomb
with,
located
but
by attackers.
their execute, I don't see where it's coming from at the moment.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure on qvG right now because they are 5 rounds behind. This is match point, and as an attacker, it's up to the attackers to make the plays happen. The defenders can just sit in one spot, not do anything, and still win the round, whereas the attackers actually do something. And at the moment, with 1 minute left, we've seen 2 grenades get burnt, trying to take out players from underneath, but it just hasn't done the job. You can hear the Gemini clone getting sent out, but F2 is going to claim the life of Laqueta, and that's going to put them in the lead, at least when it comes to the man count. So there's still a light at the end of the tunnel here for qvG in this round, but they still have 4 more to go after this, even if they can get this. And it looks like they might well get this one, as Asma is the last man standing with that Brony. Not very many bullets, but he knows that there's someone on Canadian, and he's going to look around and try to get that position. Oh, and he opens fire, but just manages to miss it. He gets back 2 players to deal with there, as the stun grenade is going to come out. Plant is started, but as Asma tries to run away, Just Pat is going to come upstairs and get that pick. And that is the end of that round. And qvG finally managed to in the win column as we see Machine Soldiers calling for a tactical timeout.
A good end to the round for qvG, though,
Yeah.
I have to say. But they do have 3 more. Well, sorry, I miscounted. They have 4 more rounds to go before they can confirm overtime, and they can make no more mistakes at this point. You know, it's too late to be able. They can't afford to make any mistakes in these last 4 rounds. They need to be as close to perfect as you can get against MSA, but MSA have just taken a tech timeout, so at this moment they kind of want to calm themselves down. There, they were 6-1 up, now 6-2 up, and they don't want to throw a 6-2 lead. This will be just as bad as the Warriors throwing a 3-1 lead in the championship. I'm not even a Warriors fan, and that made me upset. I almost cried. I think a child though. It's like 13 or 14.
Who are the Warriors?
The Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry basketball. They threw a
Oh,
3-1 lead. It was
basketball.
LeBron's first ring for Cleveland, and they threw a
Yeah, we
3-1
do.
lead.
Yeah, we
But-
don't really have basketball.
Yeah, for soccer or football. I'm so sorry. People, I swear, Europeans
Soccer.
will get Europeans would get so mad at me for saying soccer. So that's why whenever I'm on like a European thing, I'm talking but I try to avoid the subject of soccer so much because or
Fair enough.
football. Sorry, but yeah. But again, they need to qvG. They
Defenders,
can't make
protect your
any
bombs
more
from being
mistakes.
defused by attackers.
So there you go. They have 4 rounds to go. They can't make any more mistakes.
As I look back through the results, it has been a very attacking favoured game so far, with the slight exception being coastline, where it was attacking favoured very heavily and flipped, and all of a sudden defenders were kings. And on this map, we're seeing no different. I mean, Machine Soldiers dominated as
10 seconds to
as
insertion.
attack, and then as we get to the other half and switch it up, we see that qvG have started to bring it back together, and it's the most convincing win they've had. I know they've only had 2 on this map, but it's the most convincing win that they've had was when they've been attack. So maybe this is just a case of these 2 teams, or this game's meta is favouring attack. Well, let's find out. We've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds left of this round to see if qvG can stay in this, or if it's just going to be Machine Soldiers taking the 7-2 dubs and going on to the grand final, which takes place on Saturday. Which, by the way, is the same time as the Titan Series qualifiers.
Yeah. This will be a hard hit to the mental of qvG if they end up winning this, and I hope that they don't take this mental to the Titan series, as Asma is going to be very aggressive with games onto this master bedroom balcony, and he has players to worry about not only on that balcony of master bedroom, also players in this trophy area as well. And that's where the site is actually. I didn't even notice. Why is that wall just soft and open like that? What? And there it goes. F2 is able to just walk in into closet and get a pick onto Asthma, and that's the first pick for qvG. I think that's the first time in a few rounds where they've gotten the first pick in their favor. And oh, that's a play from Discount. As actually he had to worry about a player at the double door beating, and then he also had to worry about a player above him. Now Takeda is actually going to get a kill onto F2, and it's now a 4v3 between both of these teams in the advantage of qvG, but Sir Googie's actually on 20 or 15 HP, whatever that is. And now, I mean, it's still looking good for qvG, but the only thing that's kind of a negative for them is the fact that, again, Sir Googie is 15 or so HP. I'm not too sure again. But shots ring in between both teams. And there goes the pick from Takeda, and it's now a 3-3 count.
Okay, with 50 seconds still left to go. We've got qvG just moving in, cleaning things up as Serguji manages to stay down 2, leaving Den all on his own. Now this isn't unwinnable. We've got 2 players, very low health. He's going to hear that going down. He fall back to Canadian. Oh no, that's someone else actually, sorry. I thought we were watching Den for a minute there. We weren't watching Den, we were watching one. Fair enough. Red pings are going out. Diffuser is planted. It's a 1 versus 3 post plant, and I feel comfortable saying that this is very likely to be a qvG round, so they definitely are. Yeah. There we go. Kex does manage to get that pick, and we go to 6-3 with qvG still having a chance to get it to overtime, and still in with a chance to win this semi-final and go to the finals. And they are going to want this very, very much. They've come so far. Over many seasons to get to this point. They don't want to lose it now, and they just need to keep that composure. Whereas it seems like Machine Soldiers might just be, I don't want to say falling apart, but we've seen some possibly overly aggressive plays coming out from a couple of players on Machine Soldiers, possibly being a bit more in the face of qvG than they need to be. But at the same time, as I've said, both of these teams have kind of excelled when it comes to attack, so maybe they do aggression. Maybe that is the way to win this one for Machine Soldiers, but it certainly hasn't paid off for the last couple of rounds. Let's see what happens as we go into round number 10, I believe.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs
as we draw closer to the end of this matchup.
Yeah, it's right now you can see, like I talked about MSA being like a vibes team. Right now, those vibes are kind of being killed right now by qvG. And they need to find a way to prove themselves because they are only 1 round away from claiming their ticket into the finals. And qvG, what the hell? This count is already very low.
Left before insertion.
That's a misplaced, not even an impact grenade actually. Yeah, that must have been a shotgun.
The wall's been reinforced.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
It's a little bit unfortunate. This count has been one of the better players of today. I mean, on Coastline, he didn't have that, statistically, he didn't have that great of a map, but he still had some really impactful rounds and some impactful plays. Most noticeably on that bedroom flank as Castle, where he got the planter that was planting at like 0.0 seconds or something like that. Or, not 0.0 seconds, but like about that. Like it was really low in the match, but just Pat is going to be moving himself up in the map. He's already made his way up to White Stairs, and Tukana is going to get the sound cue, and he's going to probably relay that to Den, who's made his way from bunks into attic, and he's getting droned out, but he can't quite shoot the drone. He's going to come into contact with Sir Googie, and then goes the pick of this round so far. Sir Googie grabbing the head of Den. Headhunter trophy achieved, and now qvG have an early man advantage inside this round with 1 minute and 55 seconds left to go.
Discount not in a good position here. He is very closed in. They do know exactly where he is. He's got a hatch that he can drop through, but up from above, the attackers know pretty much exactly where Discount is going to be. They open up, manage to pick him off as Goody takes off another. That's 2 can taken off the board, leaving us in a versus 2, and qvG looking good to win another round here and continue this momentum that they've managed to build up the last couple of rounds by getting their wins. They've got 1 minute 30 seconds left to go. They have quite a lot of drones available to use. They've got at least 4. Looks like there's 5 as Asma's going to pick up 1. 3 versus 2, still in favor of qvG, but Asthma and Luquetta are playing on very strong, viable operators here. 1 minute left to go. The early gas grenade is slow down the attack. Grenades are going to come in as we do see one player coming down Freezer, 2 coming through Laundry. We've got a split push coming out from qvG, and these 2 defenders are going to have to watch both sides and be very, very careful as grenades go in. The heavy comes out, but better and get that gas grenade win. But Luquetta's going to fall, leaving Asthma to run his own. 1 versus 2. And in the end, Just Pat gets it, takes down Asthma, and puts another round in the win column for qvG. So qvG definitely not out yet.
Well, I don't
Another
know what to
OT?
say. Oh God, no, please. Like I don't know what to say right now. What is going on with Machine Soldier? This does not bode well for the confidence and the mental and all that Zen crap. Like it just doesn't. It's one thing to like lose like 1 round. It's another thing to lose 3 rounds in a row or 6-1 up.
Hmm.
That's another thing, and it's a shame, really.
Attackers need to
But
locate
if
and defuse
qvG win this next round, we are going to see it 100%.
Or when you look at the way things work mostly, most of the time you'll see a team win on a site and then they'll come back there and they'll lose it and then play it again and win it. That's a very common theme that happens in most games, and this game is no different. There is no different. Coastline, we saw qvG. They lost 2 from Billiards, they went back there, then they won it.
10
We
seconds
saw
remaining.
Machine Soldiers lose Kitchen and Service a couple of times, they went back there, they won it.
5 seconds left.
And that's sort of carried out through most of the game. We have seen this site played twice now by Machine Soldiers, and they have won it 50% of the time. So when you look at history and the way things generally work, there's no reason why they shouldn't win it either this time or the very next round if they decide to play it a 3rd time in a row. I mean, it could be risky, they might be better off going to somewhere else, but this is the only site that they have actually won on defense. So this is their best hope of winning it, is by coming here again.
Yeah. It's I would say as much as it's as important for MSA to really not let this get into their heads. They have lost 3 rounds in a row. The fact that they are still on match point and they have only 1 round left to go before they claim their ticket to the final, as I've said before, they need to understand that like just to not let this get to their head. I've seen this a lot of times in comp where teams will literally be so close yet so far. I mean, for example, EG against like Empire or EG against G2 or then Penta, where like
EG against Fnatic, EG against anyone.
yeah, EG against quite literally anyone, where they'll be up and everybody's in the chat like, oh my gosh, EG start to lose a couple of rounds, and then you can see it on their faces where it's just not clicking for them, and then they lose the whole thing, and then everybody's like EG choke artist. But this count is going to be the first pick of the game. I'm not too sure who killed them, but that's quickly traded out by Toucan on that Mossberg onto Goody, and that's your butt gone. I mean, that's not too important for us, the basement site, or not really anywhere according to the basement site. Lukeda grabbing another one, and I mean, and up our Machine Soldiers Academy, and Toucan makes his escape in Freezer, as it looks like Sir Googie was just making his way down the stairs, and now we see Just Pat and also the Maverick of Kex teaming up on the main stairs as they have 55 seconds left to go before this round could potentially be their demise in this whole series.
Machine Soldiers are looking pretty good right now. They're in a 4 versus 3. They've got still 2 players left with shotguns for up close. We've got them with the Roni, who will be able to do a fair bit of work, even though there aren't that high weight Freezer and also Pillar. 30 seconds left. Fuser in the hand of Kex. 3 versus 3. Kex is trying to come in through Laundry, but the gas grenades are holding him back just a bit. And it looks like he's getting ready to make his push once that gas grenade dies out. But Toucan gets that pick. 3 versus 2. Kex still waiting for the moment to come in as Pat falls back, and that is it. This has got to be over. 1 versus 3 now. Pat, no defender in hand. 10 seconds left to go, and that's it. Machine Soldiers are going to take this 7-4. No question. Unless there's a miracle. No, there is
Nope.
no miracle.
Absolutely not.
It is machine
Here you go.
soldiers. Finally, they managed to do it. And they go through to the grand final on Saturday. GG's.
Yep. And it did just enough to hold on to Machine Soldiers Academy, and they claimed that third map and claimed their way into the final. They had such an amazing journey this season, and now they have to make it count in the final. I feel like they have a really good chance at making it here because our next game I think is
Tomorrow, it's Wanted versus Loud. It's tomorrow's game.
yeah, and that will be a good match to watch as well. That one could go either way. I feel like, especially with Loud Esports shocking everyone and winning against Wii Sports youngsters, or formerly known as Blue Jays youngsters, who had a really good season in season 5, just not as consistent in season 6, and didn't really perform up to the expectations yesterday against Loud Esports. But qvG, I mean, they almost had a callback here. It wasn't that disappointing, but going 6-1 down, or 6-1 down, I feel like having a combat that big is a little bit bad, even from the best.
All right, looks like we are going to get an interview with Den from Machine Soldiers. It's always good to interview Den. He's a very humble,
Yeah,
relaxed person. Den, how you doing? GG's.
I'm doing amazing. It was a good game. Very frustrating.
Hmm.
We too. We threw a lot, like a lot. But I mean, I guess what matters is we won. I guess that just matters.
At the end of the day, it doesn't. Well, I guess as a wise man once said, doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning, right? And at the end of the day, Machine Soldiers win. Something that 74% of Twitter didn't think was going to happen. What do you say to the 74% of Twitter that didn't have faith in you, Den?
I mean, no one ever has faith in me. Always been not done that. I mean, rightfully so with that season. We've played really badly, mainly because of roster changes, and we've never actually had a stable roster until like now. But like recently, we've just got structure in the team, and it's definitely paying off that we can a lot more disciplined being shown. Still not there yet, as you can see. We have trolls, but yeah, I think
You say that,
you
but you
can
had
go.
some really strong gameplay. I mean, on Coastline, which was qvG's map pick and arguably
Mhm.
one of their best maps, and I mean, you took them to the limit. That was a really good game. Did you expect to win that? Did you think that it might be easier? Did you expect to lose it and then win the next two maps? What was the thought process going
We
into it?
expected to be Coast a lot more, to be honest. Coast,
Right.
as if yes, Coast's our best map, but it's also one of our stronger ones. I think like towards the end, we realized that we've got the better mechanics where the stronger aggressors. Let's just fight them, and that's like we were I think 4-6 down, and we just went,
Yeah.
okay, let's just fight them. We fought them and we beat them. We just realized against this team, if we just take the gunfights, we're gonna win them 99% of the times, and we did that in Ghost, and that's why we won.
You say that about winning the gunfights 99% of the time or whatever. What happened on Bank when there were like 3 players making their way up the main stage
Oh,
behind them?
come
Um, my monitor was off at that moment,
Oh, right.
so I just thought it was getting a bit too easy because I think we were 5-3 up or something. So I
Right,
just
right.
thought I'd give them a bit of a challenge, Still won the
Yeah.
round, still got 3k that round, so it's fine. Still
Yeah.
won that round.
You recovered it well with a nice flank upstairs to get that power position on the on
Yeah.
square and just picking off 3 of them as they came through. So, what's the mood of the team right now? How are the rest of the guys feeling?
I mean, we're happy we won. We're not happy with the performance, how we won, because we know individually that we're the most skilled players. Like, we have the most skilled set of players. It's just that we're not. It doesn't feel like sometimes we're not playing together, I guess. When we play together, we can dominate, but it's just like sometimes we just don't play together and it really hinders a performance. But one thing I want to say, qvG, their droning is impeccable. I like Bank. The sole reason we lost is because their entry fraggers are right behind their droners, and that was really good from them. We couldn't get the picks off them. Played really well on that.
Okay. I do have a question of my own. Um, it was a bit curious that we saw Bank for the first time. Well, not the first time, but it's one of the first times that I've seen Bank, at least in
Mm.
Talent League this season. And I do want to kind of pick your brain about as to why you guys chose Bank over any other of your maps, because you guys have a pretty good map pool, I say.
We chose Bank, right? So we done the look. We'll look behind the scenes, and they've only not played 3 maps. They banned Chalet out, which was one of them. So the other option was Bank. So we chose Bank. I mean, they're quite lucky they banned Chalet out. Not gonna lie, but yeah, we went with Bank, and we didn't win because of, as I've said, their droning was just way too good for us to handle. I mean, uh, now we've got more practice. I mean, we haven't scrimmed Bank yet, but yeah, we haven't scrimmed half the maps we've been playing because we've been the team for like 3-4 days now. I think we've brought Asper in like 4 days ago.
What's the
Ooh.
dynamic that Asthma brings to the team? Because I mean, I've worked with Asthma prior to him being in Machine Soldiers, and he's always been. My experience of Asthma is very level-headed, very focused on strategies and committing, and following what your team lead says and all that kind of stuff. What kind of dynamic have you found him bringing since you brought him in?
A lot more strictness, I'd say.
Yeah.
And he lets us know when he doesn't like what we're doing. Vice versa with me. He brings, like, if we don't do like the necessities to bring the structure, he won't be happy with us. So he keeps us in check when we're doing that, I guess.
Well, it's good to have that voice of reason there, I guess. So, okay, so you won on qvG's map. You lost on your map. Only just. There was some really good stuff on there. And then we get to Oregon, and I mean, you didn't demolish qvG. I mean, it was looking very good at one point. 5-1 up, and then let them have a few rounds. How did it get to the point where it's so close for 2 maps in a row, and then you get to Oregon, and you're just running away with it?
Oregon was very ups and downs. I mean, realistically, it should have been a 6-0 attack, but Discount can't hit shots. So we went to defense with a 5-1 lead, I believe. First round we won straight away, which they threw really badly. They had full side control and a 5v4 offside, but we went 6-2, I believe. Was it 6-1 lead? And I think we struggled. I think what happened is we struggled to close the game out because we started playing scared once because we didn't want to lose bodies towards the end. Like, I think we were trying to play way too safe, and like, as we learned from Coastline, when we're playing safe, we play way too passive and put ourselves in positions where they're very good at just picking us off one by one, working to what control they need to get. But Oregon, we were prepared for that map. We knew we've played them on it before. We beat them then. We're gonna beat them now. Oregon, they couldn't have done anything to throw us off on Oregon.
Yeah, you certainly seem to have the confidence on that one. As you're getting ready to go into the finals on Saturday, is there anything that we should be looking out for? Anything special without giving too much away? What are your thoughts on the finals and whoever you're going to be playing in that?
And to be honest, I'm just more confused how Wes lost. How? I think they need to repick Icox up and think about that decision because they should not be losing that. Not too loud. Anyways, but I mean, I don't see Loud beating Wanted. I have no clue how to beat Wes. So most likely be a Wanted versus us finals, which be a good game, hopefully. I think it'll be a lot easier than this game, I'm not gonna lie. And I think qvG have a very, very good drawn economy, which that was why they put a good fight against us.
Yeah. Yeah, qvG finished number 1 in majors, of course. Next season, if I hear correctly, you guys are going to be Soldiers' main team. Is that correct? You'll be dropping, or at least you'll be dropping the academy title.
Should be, yeah. The roster may be a bit different, but yeah, we'll still be in the Machine Soldiers, yes.
Right, okay. You looking forward to that? Well played. Good work to you, by the way, for coming into Miners as Team Ninso and the point where Machine Soldiers are taking you on. It's not an academy team anymore, so well played for that one.
Thank you.
No problem. Wimby, before we close the interview, is there anything else you wanted to speak
Wow.
to Mr. Den about?
Well, I guess the main thing was
Oh, sorry,
is
messaging me.
is
Oh no.
it's Coastline. I mean, how did it? The thing about Coastline that kind of shocked
hmm
me was that was qvG's best map. They are having a 100%, well, not anymore, but they had an 100% win rate on their record was 4-0. I mean, and you said it was one of your stronger maps, despite you guys not really playing it that much over the Talent League season. And I just kind of want to the how did you guys prepare for that, knowing that it was possibly one of qvG's uh
Uh,
more stronger maps?
Simple as we don't care who we're playing or what we're playing. We simply said, because I'm not gonna lie, I've got the biggest brain ever. Both games, yet like I've completely shut up. Both series so far, Monday and Wednesday, I've completely predicted every single map perfectly, and it's I knew they were gonna pick Coast, and I went, okay, we're better than them. We'll beat them on it, and I mean, I expected to do a lot better with scrum performances on it. No, but I think again, it was just, I was trying to play way too passive on at the beginning on defenses. I don't think QT were a threat. That OSA ban kind of nerfed them a lot on it. If you watch how they play it, they use the OSA to cut off retakes. So when we start playing aggressive, they couldn't hold the map control anymore. Cost them quite a bit.
That's what I noticed too. It's like every time you guys they did that on Oregon too, like where they played really open on their sites and they tried to really take a lot of gunfights, but every time you guys did the same thing, they couldn't really win the gunfights to the same caliber that you guys did. It was almost as if like every pick that happened at the beginning just kind of went their way. And I said that during stream as well, where like they
We
seem to
had
play right into the play style of you guys, which isn't what you want to do at all. You kind of want to counter
yeah.
that.
I think one thing is we had more confidence on Coast and Oregon simply because we've actually scrimmed their maps where we haven't bank. I mean, we still took them 7-5. It was the same with the West game. We had never fucking scrimmed. Oh, didn't swear, didn't promise. We've never scrimmed it, and we still went 8-7. Like, no matter. But now we've got time. We're gonna scrim everything, get them all done. I think bank was just a risk for us. We were like, they've never played it. Let's see if they're good on it. It was just like because we knew we had Oregon no matter what. We were confident with Oregon. Bank was more just we take them to it because they've never played to it. We don't know if they're good. We don't know if they're bad. That was our mindset on it. We weren't. I think we thought we were gonna get the 2-0, but we chilled bank hard. What was it, 5-3 lead? Cool. I forgot what the question was. I'm not gonna lie.
It was more of a statement, the second part, but
Them. I mean, they like we could just predict what they were gonna do. Like on Oregon, we've played them on it before. They haven't really changed much. They're trying to force us into gunfights, which they did not want to do at all. And every time they lost their gunfights, they they had on other maps like on Bank, they actually had crossfires with each other. Oregon, they weren't playing crossfires; they were playing their ones, and that's the issue. So like, if you look on a Bank, they isolate us into 2v1s. They were winning them. They put us in 1v1s. We were winning them.
yeah, they did the opposite of what they should have done. Well,
hmm
on Oregon, and they did it on Bank perfectly well. You guys weren't. That's the thing. You guys weren't really doing anything special on Oregon. You just kept like pushing them, and qvG just didn't like react accordingly. But I think that's all for us, unless you have anything
No,
else to say.
nothing for me. Nothing for me. Just the GG to both teams. But yeah, Den, well played to you and the guys, and I look forward to see what you do on Saturday.
Winning, that's what we're gonna do.
I'll hold you to that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Why are you laughing, Trippin? Shut up.
Oh my god. All right.
Can we predict scores for the finals at least? Come on.
Yeah, go for it.
What we're saying, Trippin? I think we'll start with you. I think it's gonna be 3-0. 7-0, 7-0, 7-0.
All right, bold statements come in from Machine Soldiers. Let's see if that works out on Saturday. Den, thank you very much for a great game tonight. GG's for making it really
Yes.
entertaining and being just a walkover either way. You know, it's nice always to see close games. So thanks for giving us that tonight.
I'd be nice to this interview because I heard like as soon as I got kicked from the call last on Monday, they said they were never gonna let me interview again. So that's why I've been nice so far.
Yes.
But finals, last day, so I can go all out. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Den. All right, so that was qvG Esports versus Academy semi-final Season 6 Talent League Champion Series. We saw Machine Soldiers taking an unexpected 2-1 victory, a very close 2-1 victory at that, but a victory is a victory nonetheless, so well played to them. qvG, we will see you back next season. Well, we'll see you in Tyson Series before we see you next season, so best of luck with that one. But Machine Soldiers will be back on Saturday for the grand final against either Team Wanted or Loud from 7 p.m. CET. Is there anything else we need to go through, 1B, before we close the stream tonight?
No, I just
Yeah,
got the call in my ear from Mr. Yele. No, we do not.
No.
Unless sponsors? No.
This stream has been sponsored by 2TextB and 1B. Thank you very much.
But no, it was fun casting with you. I really did enjoy this cast. It was a very
Nice,
enjoyable
likewise.
semifinals, and now I have to cast the grand finals.
Hey, don't sound so. You're casting it with
No,
Squishy.
no, no.
Squishy will be casting the grand finals.
I'm
so-
very happy for that. Trust me. It
Okay.
doesn't. I sound like this all the time, but like, yeah, I'm very happy.
All right, cool. Well, we'll close the stream there. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Don't forget, be back tomorrow for Loud versus Team Wanted, 7 p.m. CET. If you're in the UK, that is 6 p.m. Don't miss it. It should be a very interesting game, and the winner of that one gets to go on to the grand final to play against tonight's winners, Machine Soldiers, to try and hopefully take, well, not hopefully, one of those two teams will win the Season 6 championship title. Don't miss it tomorrow. Don't miss it on Saturday. 1B, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being with you. Also, thank you to our wonderful observer and producer, Mr. Trippin, who does a great job here all season long. Thank you very much, and we will see you guys tomorrow.